Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery is joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says, "Oh."
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
Oh, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. Uncle Dom going to stop by at 10:30, which is customary. John Breech, CBS Sports NFL, going to join us at 11:30. We got a little real truth at 10 o'clock as well. I think it's a rare moment nowadays. I couldn't think of the last time, and I'll leave this to you guys as well to if any of these jog your memory. I became aware last night. Didn't have basketball last night, which is rare for me on a Monday. Usually I go littles from 6 to 7:30, and then bigs from 7:30 to 9. So it's usually a 3-hour block Mondays and Wednesdays. It's been that way since October. So a rare day off. They had a middle school tournament, so there was no gym space. So we had a rare day off on a Monday. And so was bouncing around, watching some of the sports. Watched my guy Hayden Grove on The Voice, which was amazing. I've known Hayden since his time at Ohio State, and still see him from time to time, and it was really cool to see him on The Voice last night, so we watched that. We were bouncing back and forth between the Cavs game, and then I became aware, it wasn't something I was seeking out, that Luka Doncic was going to debut last night for the Lakers. So I go to my cable guide, and it's nowhere in the guide that game is on. Grab the phone, quick search, and it says ESPN is going to stream the game. Okay, let's go. I mean, I'm curious now. What does this look like? What does it look like to see him in that uniform? And what do him and LeBron look like playing next to each other? I was sports curious by it. The Lakers were the team of my youth. Yes, it's a bit of a front-runner play, but as I've explained many times, you just picked who was good when you grew up where I did, and you're either a Laker fan or a Celtic fan. There really wasn't a third option. And I think I chose wisely. It's been the one thing that I've rooted for most of my life that's been quite a lot of fun to root for. And so I seek it out. I find it on the streaming, and then I find out that indeed ESPN's main channel on the cable is going to carry it as well. So I flip over in time to see Lawrence Tanner, who's the longtime voice of the Lakers, and they do the smart thing, which is they take the introduction. They don't do this much anymore because NBA teams have such long hype videos leading into team introductions that you don't get the starting lineups very often because television doesn't want to show the 2-minute preamble into the lineups the way that you used to. If you're of a certain age, you certainly remember Ray Clay with the Bulls and the music that came with that, and 6'6" from North Carolina, Michael Jordan. You remember that? There was the guy up there. I'm forgetting. Ahmad, who I think does Cavs, who does from St. Vincent St. Mary High School in Akron, Ohio. LeBron James, like he did that one, which was iconic. But Tanner's been doing Lakers starting lineups as long as I can remember. He's kind of the big daddy. He's a deep baritone. It's read pretty straight, and it's iconic, much like the Big Daddy. And so I got in there and able to watch it. And so they introduced LeBron second to last, and then the last guy introduced is Luka Doncic. And you see all the stars there, and they were all there. And you get a little bit of chills of like, my God, this really happened. Like, he's a 25-year-old, 5-time first-team All-NBA guy, and now he plays for the Lakers. And so then the curiosity went to, well, what does this look like? And I watched the first quarter and a half of play. I'm here to tell you, to the surprise of no one probably, this is going to work out really well. It's going to work out really well because you look at them and you watch them play, and they're playing a Jazz team that's not any good. And obviously I'm aware that when they play the Oklahoma Cities and Denvers and teams of that nature, but the reality is they have two supercomputers now on their roster. And they have two guys who are basically the same player in terms of their ability to see the court, their ability to play make for others. Luka's just a much better shooter than LeBron, although he struggled a little bit last night from the field, just 1 of 7 from 3, but he can get it whenever he wants. It's his first game in 2 months, by the way. He hasn't played since Christmas. And you watching this, you just went, wow, you don't have these moments that much in sports very often where a monster trade happens and there's real anticipation in the building to see the debut. And then when you get it out on the court or the ice or the field, you go, why was anybody acting like this wasn't going to work? Of course this was going to. They're both 6'8". They both can do whatever they want offensively, and they've got other guys on that team who can play too. Like, it's going to work excellent. It's going to be pure joy to watch them play. And it was a cool moment, and there aren't many of them. I could not think of, fellas, the last one where there was a mid-season trade and you couldn't wait to see the debut. There's a lot of off-season stuff that we see where you acquire somebody in the off-season, but typically you have like a preseason to kind of warm up to it. Like, what's the last mid-season trade that you could not wait to see the player in the sweater or in the uniform?
I mean, there's the teams that we follow and the teams that we love, so I think back to having great excitement and anticipation to watch Andrew Miller pitch for the Cleveland Indians back in 2016. But in terms of the entire sport all of sport, everybody who had an interest casually of the NBA was interested to see how this was going to look last night. They introduced Luka last.
They did. Yeah, I mentioned that.
For the Los Angeles Lakers. Everybody got a Luka t-shirt. Dirk Nowitzki was in attendance.
Oh, my God.
Pretty sure they have a statue of him in Dallas outside of the American Airlines Center. The Mavericks were playing last night. Dude. Dirk was in Los Angeles. There's been nothing like this ever.
That is a gaping blood wound that you take Morton iodized salt and just pour in it. Dirk was in L.A. I mean, holy hell.
That's when you need your guys like in the foxhole with you. Like, you need Dirk at the American Airlines Center in Dallas backing the Mavericks, who threw a fan out because he wanted to fire Nico Harrelson when they did during commercials you get to sing and they go around and show the different fans, and he dropped the gimmick and he said, fire Nico, fire Nico, and they escorted him out. Like, you need Dirk there to help things out in Dallas, and he didn't show.
The last one I remember on a basketball, this isn't in the same vicinity, but I remember when it was LeBron's last year in Cleveland the first time around, and they had acquired Anton Jameson, and they were kind of looking for like that next guy who could put them kind of over, and they acquired him, and he was past his prime at that point, but I was curious what that would look like, and it never really did much. You mentioned the Andrew Miller one. The Reds I don't know the Reds as well as others would. I don't know when the last time that they had like a deadline deal acquisition that it was like, I can't wait to see him in the jersey. It's been a minute. And even Miller, he was a setup guy. So he was lights out, like unhittable, but at the same time, like, you weren't sure when you were going to get him. It's not like you were trading for a guy batting third in the order where he pops in. And the NFL doesn't have this at all. There's no real trade deadline thing where you acquire somebody that you can't wait to see him in a jersey. And so it is rare. It's rare in sports that you have these where you have a monster trade and then you get to see it. I don't know what it'll do for – it's tough. I mean, they're 10:30 Eastern tips most of the time for the Lakers, and so that's always going to be a little bit tough. But just in terms of the excitement to see it, I ended up watching far longer than I thought I would.
Bo, wasn't it just a few seasons ago that I believe this was in the middle of the season or the beginning of the year? Not they were already playing games, at least, that Christian McCaffrey got traded to the 49ers. I believe that was an October deal.
Yeah, that one would check. Yeah, that was probably around then, right?
Yeah, it looks like it was October of 2022 that he was traded. So that would have been a month in to the season, at least, for that. Yeah,
there was anticipation to see him in that Niners uniform and what it would look like.
And, barring injury, obviously, that has worked out great for the 49ers.
Yeah, it did not work out so well for me as I had the number one pick in my fantasy draft and picked him this year.
Yeah,
so that
same.
didn't work out so well.
Same.
Actually, the only 2 times in the history of the one league that I've been in for 25 years that I've had the number one overall pick, both times I picked Christian McCaffrey, and both times he was done for the year. Twice. Once in Carolina and once in San Francisco. It was a fun night in the association, and it was really cool to see like LeBron play with somebody else who intellectually is on his level as a basketball player. It was wild. And I think it's going to work out just fine. I would not want to play them. I don't care if you're OKC. I don't care if you're Denver. Maybe Denver just because they've done it. But like anybody who hasn't already won, I would want no part of it. All right, lots to get to on the program day. A lot of you watched the Super Bowl in terms of viewership. In fact, a record amount of you watched it. We will get into that. We'll have a little fun with the NFL tiers. Which teams heading into this offseason? Folks, we're only like 2 weeks from the Combine. Which teams heading into this offseason are contenders, who are pretenders, and who's going nowhere? We will get to all of that. Nice little program for you. We're off and running on a Tuesday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Ready to hit the road in a new car? With Pathways, enjoy up to 90 days with no payments and low auto loan rates. Learn more at pathwayscu.com. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Federally insured by NCUA.
At NJM Insurance, we're like a symphony. It all starts by doing the right thing. Add in dedicated reps and put policyholders first. But no jingles or mascots because it's just not us. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties or buy 2, get 3 free with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, it's Anthony. I got to tell you, when you don't have the support you need, it affects everything. Feet, knees, hips, back, even your mood. I finally went to the Good Feet store, and once I was personally fitted for my arch supports, I felt a ton better. I will never wear another pair of shoes again without sliding in my personally fit Good Feet arch supports. That's because they help me eliminate my foot pain. It's such a good feeling knowing that I can be on my feet and not worrying about I'm going to wake up with low back pain or feel a weakness somewhere. I trust the Good Feet store because for more than 30 years, they've helped thousands of people just like me get back to feeling comfort on a daily basis. They take pleasure in that. And it's their personal 3-step system designed to support, balance, and strengthen your feet that guides them into their ideal position. I'm the proof. I wear them every day, even when I'm biking at the gym. So go in, take the free test walk at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
Rothman and Ice.
It's humbling after Michigan is what tapped into a different gear for a team that needed a shot to the gut to feel like they had to protect someone.
Rothman and Ice. Weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Have you ever told a friend?
Oh, I'm fine.
When you really felt?
Just so overwhelmed.
Or sent a text?
Can't sleep. Are you awake?
When you couldn't find the words to say?
I'm scared to be alone with my thoughts right now.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are tracking a cloudy day, a few snow flurries in the Columbus metro area. Once you get south of I-70, there is a weather disturbance down there, so we could be tracking some snowfall, especially down towards Pickaway County, Pike County, those parts of the state. Today's high, 34. Tonight's low, 27. Wednesday, we are tracking late day rain with a high of 39. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast.
The Big Nine was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
And it's your Uncle Bo here. Proud to tell you about my friends at Diamond Cellar. This is a good one because Diamond Cellar's wedding weekend is back. Mark your calendars, February 21st and 22nd. Incredible offers you won't want to miss. Join them for buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, special no-interest financing on engagement rings. They've had the guaranteed best price for over 78 years. So choose a jeweler you can trust. Go see them February 21st and 22nd for their wedding weekend at Diamond Cellar at Sawmill Road or Easton Town Center. By the way, Valentine's Day is 3 days away. Don't have something yet? Go see them. Tell them I sent you. They will help you get something that will make your significant other very, very happy. I am certain of that. I did get a couple on social in terms of comparisons to this. Matt with a good one. Ellie De La Cruz was a summer call-up, and it was a big deal. Yes, it was. It was a very big deal that you knew he was coming, and there was anticipation of what is he going to look like in the uniform, and then he delivered. Baseball has that. They have the summer call-up that happens, and they kind of paratroop in. They've obviously been playing in the minors. That happened last year with Paul Skeens. Like, it was like when he comes up, it's like, well, what's this going to look like? And then they're dominant. So baseball has it in the sense of anticipation for a debut that happens in the middle of the season. Al mentions Ken Griffey Jr. in Cincinnati, but that was a free agent, and you had training camp, or spring training rather, like you saw him in that. It's so unique to have someone just paratroop in the middle of it. The best one I could think of, I was racking my brain, and I had to go way back into the catacombs to come up with an NHL one that was similar. And age-wise, it wasn't, but impact-wise, it was. Patrick Waugh being traded from the Montreal Canadiens to the Colorado Avalanche. He had a huge falling out with the coaching in Montreal. He wasn't in top form at the time of the trade, but I'm pretty sure they won the cup right away. I'm pretty sure he went to Colorado, and then they won their first cup, and they acquired him. And that was one of those ones that was like, holy smokes, Patrick Waugh plays for the Colorado Avalanche? How did this happen? But there aren't many. It's hard to find ones where you can't wait for the debut. Usually the debut, rookie quarterbacks, those type of things, it happens in preseason football. So like you kind of get ruined. It's another thing to what happened like last night where you're jumping on a treadmill that's already moving.
I think Herschel Walker, that trade was an October trade as well, too. So that was an in-season that probably would have been really huge.
It was Herschel to Minnesota in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I believe that was in October as well.
I remember that. Obviously, I remember that deal. I remember more of the fallout from that deal. The crazy thing that gets lost in the Herschel Walker deal, and AR could speak to this absolutely as a lifelong Vikings fan, the Vikings at that time felt they were a running back away from winning the Super Bowl. And so you look back on it shortly thereafter and realize that it was part of what led to the building of the Dallas Cowboys with all of those assets. But then Jimmy Johnson hit on a lot of those picks, and that led to it. But Herschel was actually kind of exactly what Minnesota needed at that time. I want to say he had a pretty immediate impact, too, in that. I'm going to pull up. Didn't he run for Senate a couple years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Trying to run for senator in Georgia?
Trying to dip his toe in the political waters.
Yeah, so he played first 5 games in Dallas in 1989. First 5 games were played in Dallas. It's funny, he was only averaging 3 yards a carry in that season. He was 246 yards.
I think he did MMA, too.
That came later.
Yeah.
But yeah, he went to the Vikings, 670 yards, 4 yards a carry. He did get to he actually never got 1,000 yards during his time in Minnesota. Never. He got 1,000 yards once with Philly. I did not remember this. At age 26 in 1988, he ran for 15-14 with Dallas. Was 5th in the MVP. I had no point of reference on that. He had some incredible receiving years, too. Holy cow. I would not have had this. In 1988, Herschel Walker ran for 15-14 and 5 touchdowns. And then he caught another 505 and 2 touchdowns, 53 catches. He was a 2,000-yard total offense guy. I would not have had that. I would not have had that on the 1988 Dallas Cowboys. That probably would have been the last Dallas Cowboy. Yeah, that's the last Dallas Cowboy team coached by Tom Landry. They went 3-13.
He got nominated as ambassador to the Bahamas.
That's a good place to be an ambassador to.
Yeah.
Is that what he is now?
No, he got nominated back in December. I'm looking to see if it got approved.
Be worse places to be the ambassador to say the least.
Friends of mine, not a bad gig.
Friends of mine were in the Caymans this weekend, and they had. Did you guys hear about this earthquake in the Caribbean?
I did not.
What?
Yeah, there's an earthquake in the middle of the Caribbean in the middle of the night on Saturday night that that gave tsunami warnings for like Caymans, Bahamas, all of them. That led to some pretty anxious moments, like 7.6 earthquake in the middle of the Caribbean. So
that's no joke.
That's an attention getter. All right, we had the DeAndre Hunter debut with Cleveland last night. He had 12 points. You see, Reese, you watched that game, and I know you watched it. You see what he gives them, the length and the shooting, kind of exactly what they needed, just to have another guy he's more than a 3-and-D. Like he can kind of do a lot, but you see where his length is going to come into play.
It's pretty great. He had 2 fouls and no points in the first quarter.
Yeah.
But you saw as the game went on, and I don't think he played, 23 minutes, but you got the idea. Right?
Yeah.
You understood that this, and I think it'll be, February 28th, I think I said, when they play the Celtics, when you kind of get like your first real sense of, okay, how's this going to look or how's this going to work against the top teams in the East? And then, like you said yesterday, like not till May till you get like a full, hey, is this going to be a good thing? But last night it gave you a lot to be excited about. Like certainly for casual Cavaliers fans, you're not really. Anthony Walker, Ant had 44 points in that game, so maybe you're tuning into that, but because of DeAndre Hunter, you're like, oh, let's see what this looks like. But the Cavs didn't need too much of him.
No, they blew him out. Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah.
It just comes down to, it's just for them, it'll just come down to Boston, and that's what Hunter's about. Can they hang with that? And that'll just come down to that series. But I see no scenario where it's not those two teams in the East. It's hard to imagine any other scenario. All right, what are you doing? I mean, you got to be like, Bake, you got to be like an alcoholic, like with the first week without alcohol, with no jackets. What are you doing with yourself?
Well, I'm shaking a lot more, that's for sure.
I bet you are.
But I guess I'm just going to have to catch up on things that I've been putting off here for a while, watching all these games. But no, it is definitely weird thinking, man, we're not going to have Jackets hockey until February 22nd.
All right, give me the I think it was the great Snagglepuss asked for some sort of just a basic explainer of the
what is this?
Give me an explainer. What do I need to pay attention to here? And I think it's going to be a tough sell, as I've said. No Russians. That hurts my interest. Go ahead.
So it's a round-robin tournament, and then the top 2 teams points-wise will play for the championship. The games are going to be played under NHL rules. However, the point accumulation is going to be a little different. So if you win in regulation, you're going to get 3 points. If you win in overtime or a shootout, you will only get 2 points, and then you'll get 1 point if you lose.
If you get to overtime.
Yeah, if you make it to overtime in a shootout and you lose, you'll get 1 point. Obviously, nothing for a regulation loss. So there's been a lot of people that have talked about trying to implement this point system like this in the NHL to reward teams for winning in regulation and not in overtime or a shootout. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out a little bit, even though it's a very small sample size.
I like it. I like anything that puts the emphasis on winning the games in the time that's allotted. I'd be totally fine with that. So you got games in Montreal, then you got games in Boston on this. We'll see.
I know that like Zack Werenski's in Montreal right now.
So is the idea, is the rival here, I mean, we can't hate the Swedes and the Finns. Is the rival here the Canadians? Why would we hate the Canadians? I like Canada.
I think it's always Canada, right? For
no, it's
USA?
Russia. No, it's Russia. I reject anything other than Russia.
But in the absence of Russia, can you hate poutines for 2 weeks?
No, poutine's great.
Well,
it's fantastic. Gravy on fries? Sold. Why don't we do more of that? I like the Canadian brethren. Used to like, back when I used to smoke a cigarette from time to time, go up there, get a little players. And who gets hurt?
I will say this, the game that everybody has circled in this is the game Saturday night when the United States plays Canada, and that will actually be on ABC.
Now, imagine if they're playing the Russians. Now we're talking.
Well, that would be rough because then you'd have Zach going against Marchenko and Chinnikov and Provorov. And
fine. Give me the Russians. You dropped the ball here, hockey, on this. The NFL did not drop the ball. Everybody watched. A bigger audience. Everyone said, well, there's fatigue over Eagles and Chiefs. Turns out, no, there's not. We'll get you the details on that in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text GRIT to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text GRIT to 42424. That's GRIT to 42424. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Your furnace could be costing you in repairs and high utility bills. Replace it with Logan AC and Heat Services. Enjoy 0% APR financing for 72 months. It's hard to stop a train. Schedule now. Logan Services.
This is Hall of Famer number 275, Chris Carter. Buckeye born and bred. Ohio has been a huge part of my football career. From Friday nights in Middletown to Saturdays at the Shoe. And now all the way to Canton. Now I want you to experience football heaven, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Go to 971thefan.com/gojacket and enter to win a VIP experience to the home of professional football, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ignite the passion, relive the glory.
Rodeo fans, saddle up for the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo, February 15th at Nationwide Arena. Come early for autographs, pony rides, and more. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. It's the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up? What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a Tuesday edition of the program. Fox Sports projecting Super Bowl record average audience of 126 million of you. That's crazy. That's across all television streaming platforms for the 40-22 victory over Kansas City. Obviously, it was a Fox television. Some of the specifics on the numbers are pretty wild as well. It is a record audience. Last year's Chiefs-49ers game was 123.7 on CBS right here locally on Channel 10. The audience, according to Fox, peaked at 135.7 million in the second quarter. It was the third straight year the Super Bowl averaged more than 100 million viewers after a period when 4 of the 5 games before 2023 had fallen short of that number. Largely because of cord cutting. That's 95.2 in 2021. Tampa Bay and Kansas City was the game's lowest TV-only average since 2007. The NFL playoffs, all said and done, 35.2 million for the first 3 weekends, down 9% from last year's record of 38.5. 135 million people watching us. That's just a crazy amount. It's amazing how this sport, how this version of the sport, the professional model in the NFL, just continues to grow and grow and grow and bigger and bigger. And it feels like, you hate to say too big to fail, but it kind of feels like that.
It is.
Don't you think? I don't know that there's anything. I think they can kind of do whatever they want. I mean, they're playing games. They've played games.
Brazil, Australia,
Germany,
Spain.
All of them.
Only league that can really get away with doing that as frequently as they would like to. I mean, they're going to increase it more and more and more, and we're going to consume at the exact same rate as they grow and
This wasn't even a good game. I mean, it was teams we've seen before. Everybody said they were tired of it. It didn't matter. There's a spectacle to it.
It's the thing. You're always going to watch the Super Bowl. And up until Sunday afternoon, I had no interest really in the teams and I had no really interest in the game, but I was going to watch because it's Super Bowl, and then that's just what you do. Similarly with the playoffs. And I know they say the average number's down from last year, but you still watch because it's the NFL, and they want whichever day they want, they take. And that's, to me, it makes the most sense in the world that they would want to put a game, on a Sunday morning. Well, where? We'll send them somewhere. They'll follow. You'll go. You'll watch. And you'll bet.
That's the last part of it, too, Reese. I think when you I was even noticing this last night watching the Cavs a little bit on FanDuel Sports, and you can do it when you watch the Jackets as well. And that's probably the next layer that will happen in the NFL. And if you watch Jackets games, you watch Cavs games on FanDuel.
TV.
You see FanDuel TV, and what you see is, here are your odds right now to live bet this in the FanDuel app. It's so funny. AR and I talked about this 15 years ago. I remember he and I doing the segment and talking about gambling in sports. And the one thing, this was 15 years ago, we were talking about, well, the stay-at-home became so good because at that time, it was the first time like big TVs became affordable. You could kind of afford a big HD TV. And when those start, not necessarily like Michael Scott in The Office with like an HD TV, like a 12-incher. I'm talking about the big boys. You could kindly start being able to afford it. And when that happened, we said, well, how are you going to get them back? And we thought, well, one thing we kind of come up with was, what if you could bet in your seat, if they had a screen in your seat and you could live bet who's going to get the next bucket, who's going to do all of those things? We're there. We're there now. And the betting of the Super Bowl, man, it's almost undefeated, fellas.
And I think that's one of the reasons you have so many people watching the Super Bowl, and always have, but now that sports betting has become more legal, it's right there. Also, the Super Bowl is just such a spectacle, and the NFL has done such a great job of making it where even non-sports fans want to tune in if they want to see whoever's performing the national anthem or America the Beautiful now as well. They want to see the halftime show, and then the commercials themselves have become such the commercials are almost must-see TV for a lot of people.
I think you just hit it. It's the only thing left in entertainment where we will sit there pretty much uninterrupted for 4 hours and watch all of it. I mean, to me, the only time we were having this discussion, it started to occur to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get like the snacks out. I got to get the Super Bowl snacks out because it was starting to get close. And the time that I used to go get the snacks was when they were doing like the studio show analysis. I don't need to hear Gronk on this. Like, I'm good. That was the only time. Like, everything else you didn't want to miss. You didn't want to miss a commercial. You didn't want to miss America the Beautiful. You didn't want to miss the national anthem. Didn't want to miss the halftime show. None of it. It's got you engaged from 30 minutes before all the way through. And you stay. And the boys are asking me, where were the most expensive ads? And I thought I remember years ago saying that the most expensive ads were right after the national anthem through kickoff, and then that first commercial, and then the other one is the one leading right into halftime. That's the other one that's kind of like the must-see, must-pay-for ad is the one right there. So, look, I just think it's too big to fail. I don't see any scenario how the NFL slows down at any point. It just continues to get bigger and bigger. The cool thing about it, from our vantage point here, talking college football as much as we do, college football is drafting. College football's drafting the NFL. It's kind of like in NASCAR at Daytona 500 this weekend. You're just kind of behind them, and they're pulling you around the track. And college football can have all the flaws in the world. Some of those flaws we love. We love how perfectly messy college football is because it's a fun talk. But the reality is we crave so much of football at the highest level that those two are kind of the only two things in sports that continue to be on the ascent in terms of your consumption of it.
It's the only thing that could get away with doing a flag football tournament, or how hard can this large human spike a football, or how many of these styrofoam walls, or can this large human run through? I mean, their Pro Bowl thing is just nonsense, but it still rates higher than, like, baseball would kill for some of those numbers for the Pro Bowl or for what you're going to get for the NFL Combine. Like, those are incredible numbers for guys just doing a lot of nothing. But it's because it's...
Go ahead, Reese.
I was going to say because it's part of the NFL, because it's part of football that we crave when it's not there, and then when we have it, we can't get enough of it.
Every other sport in this country, with the exception of football, is a regional sport. You care about your teams in your region, and we've gotten to the point where we don't care about teams who are not in our region when they are playing. Best example of this is Sunday Night Baseball. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN 30 years ago was something that rated pretty good. You'd get a Sunday nighter. Most oftentimes it would be Yankees and Red Sox, and maybe that was some of their problem. Sometimes you get Cards and Cubs. You'd get a Dodgers Giants every once in a while. But that Sunday Night Baseball was something that you could kind of go seek out and find. The same would be true of the NBA. It was TNT on Thursday night. You get that Thursday night game on TNT. You get a Sunday afternoon game on NBC way back, before that CBS. And you kind of all watch the league. That's over. You guys have seen the ratings for the NHL on their national broadcast. They just put that out last week. No one's watching it. Nobody. I mean, they're talking 100,000 people watching games on ESPN. 100,000 people. Think about that. I mean, that's where they're at. So now, in a market like this, you care dramatically about your team. But what I find is that outside of the diehards, the people who jump on a bandwagon, they're out as soon as the Jackets are out. They're not watching the Stanley Cup playoffs. Same is true of NBA. NBA's got the same problem. Not to the extent of hockey, but it's similar, that once your team is out, you're done. You're done. Unless you get a LeBron Steph thing that they had for all those years that kind of crossed over. Baseball's the same. You care about your teams in your market, and you're not watching the sport other than that. The diehards are. The people who love it more than anything. But the diehards make up more and more as the years pass. The diehards are making up fewer and fewer of the total audience. Football's the only thing that it doesn't matter if you have your team in it or not, you're watching it.
The NFL has done such a great job in their marketing, and not only that, but their marketing of stars and pushing their stars. And how many people watched the games just because they wanted to see Belichick and the Patriots lose? And how many people watched Sunday night because they wanted to see Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and Travis Kelce lose? I don't know how the NFL has done it, but they have done such a great job of pushing stars and pushing them to the extent that, man, I can't stand that guy. I want him to go away. I want him to lose.
I'm going to give you how they did it. There's 3 or 4 things that the NFL did over the last 20 years that led to where they are. We'll have that for you. We'll also go over some of the Buckeye staff room. We're still waiting for that all to get finalized officially from them. We'll go over some of the things we're hearing on that front coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Get your furnace fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling, 1-800-COOLING.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Giant Eagle is making it easy to surround yourself with the sound of freshness, the sound of sizzle, the sound of savings. With new low prices on hundreds of your favorite produce items, deals for days on over 1,000 items throughout the store, plus weekly sales and My Perks for even more savings at the pump. Surround yourself with savings every time you shop. At your neighborhood Giant Eagle. Visit gianteagle.com for details.
Hoops fans, are you ready to score big and get lucky this March?
What's up? It's T-Bone. I'm here to tell you that Bud Light will be holding mini hoops challenges at bars and restaurants across town over the next several weeks with one goal in mind: to send one lucky local winner to Las Vegas where they'll compete for $10,000. Take your shot at March Madness glory. This week, join Bud Light on 2 different nights. Wednesday, they'll be at Tino's on Dublin Center Drive from 7 to 9, and then on Thursday at Classics Tuttle on Tuttle Crossing Boulevard from 8 to 10. Both events will have a mini hoops basketball challenge that'll give you a shot at a Vegas trip and $10,000.
Go beyond your field of study and get a world-class education in leadership. As an Army officer, you'll work side by side with peers who support your growth, and you'll become a role model, mentor, and decision maker in any environment, at any scale. It's a challenging path, but along the way, you'll sharpen your skills and show yourself and those around you exactly what you're capable of. Decide to lead at goarmy.com/officer.
The Ohio State University Army ROTC. Buckeyes lead the way.
Scotty Vegas here, offering you a sure bet. If you choose Awaken 180, you will succeed. We all did. I dropped my 35 pounds. Austin dropped his 50, and Beam is almost down 52. What's stopping you? A sure bet at awaken180weightloss.com.
Bets are us. When dreams don't get in, bets are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Bets are us. When dreams don't get in, bets are us.
Did you know we have another station? More Buckeyes, more play-by-play, more everything.
Set your second preset to AM 1460 or 97.1 FM HD2 or listen on the Fan app.
Your home for almost too much football. The Fan.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Columbus, Worthington, Air, and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
10 feet tall and bulletproof isn't just a saying. It's a way of life. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Bake, you asked, how did the NFL get here? I think there's really 4 things. there are four things that I think were critical to it. Number one, every NFL game, this probably started with Monday Night Football in the 70s and continued eventually with Sunday Night Football. As that happened in the I think early 2000s, late 90s is when Sunday Night Football started. Now they play on Thursdays. They play, kind of around the clock now. It's what it kind of amounts to. But for the longest time, every NFL game was a big deal. Every single one was. And long time before there was a time when there wasn't NFL Sunday Ticket and there was not Red Zone, and you got to watch 3 games on a Sunday. You got to watch 2 games at 1 if you were on the East, and you got to watch 1 at 4, and then you got to watch Monday Night Football. You got 4 games. So what that did is it said if the NFL's on, you're watching it. This is a really big deal, even if your teams aren't in it, because you get 4. So what's the other thing that comes with that? You get once a week. You get 1 time a week. They play once a week. So the first thing is they created scarcity, and they made every game that they play an event. You cannot do that when you're playing 82 games or 162. It's not the same. So that's the jumping off point. It is the ultimate television sport. Replays, analysis, all of those things. It fits perfectly for television as television took over in this country 40 years ago. The second thing that it benefited greatly from was sports talk, what we do. Think about how many markets in this country, Fish should have a good handle on this more than anybody. How many markets in this country can come on a Monday through Friday and talk something other than football and rate? Because, you got to rate. I mean, that's part of this. Like, you have to rate. You guys have to like what we do. You have to listen to what we do. I come on here and do hockey 5 days a week, or NBA 5 days a week, or baseball 5 days a week in the summer. Crickets. Absolute crickets. It's not there. So you got to balance it. So when you think about sports talk and what sports talk has meant to football, because it's one game, you spend the early part of the week breaking down what you just saw. You spend the back part of the week, the end part of the week, predicting what's going to happen the following weekend. That's college and pro. And now with podcasts, it's gone the same way, right? I mean, weekly or either responding to what happened on a Saturday or Sunday or previewing what's going to happen that weekend. The calendar fits. So that's the second thing, is the boom of sports talk radio. The NFL benefited tremendously from that. College football benefits tremendously from that. The third thing is gambling. Football's pretty easy to gamble on. Pretty straightforward. You go on ESPN Bet right now, I guarantee you I haven't been on it today, but I'm sure that there's futures bets for next season. I'm sure there's bets on who's going to get picked first in the draft, like all of those things. It's easy to understand the betting. I still don't understand hockey betting. Still don't. Don't understand baseball betting. Not the daily. Football, I get it. Very easy. Simple. I can do over-unders. I can do scores. I can do props. All of those things. Very easy. And this one's the last one, and I think it might end up being as critical for the young generation as any. It's fantasy football. Fantasy football allows and promotes I think of things through my kids' prism. They all love fantasy football. They all play fantasy football. They know the league because of it. And there's probably other factors too, but those are the ones that I think when you think about how the NFL has just steamrolled everything else in this country and continues to be on the ascent, and college football is drafting right behind it, continuing to be on the ascent and rating high and high, and the give a damn gets more and more and more. Those are the factors that you keep coming back to. Those are the factors. It's the scarcity of it. It's the once a week nature of it. That's the whole thing. And there's no end in it in sight. None. 140 million people at one time. That's just a monster number to be able to do. And honestly, that seems low. It's hard for me to imagine that who's the 100. How many people are there in America now? 300 million? Who's 150 million?
Yeah.
What are we, 330? What's our number?
Yeah,
American population, are we 300 million?
I wonder if you got every single pair of eyeballs, what that number would actually be. Because think about people, at your household, that's a household, but does it count the amount of eyeballs or the amount of persons watching at any given time? Are you counting wherever, your fun casual joints.
Yeah.
It's probably higher.
It's higher because there's 330 million people in the United States, somewhere around there. I want to know what the other 190 were doing, because my guess is that it was a much bigger actual number than even what you're getting with the 126 or whatever. It was on everywhere. Everybody had it on. Those are my theory, at least, on why it has been this continued boomtown year in and year out and continues to grow and ascend. Nothing official yet on the Ohio State side of things in terms of coaching hirings. I did see this from 11 Warriors. They caught up with Brian Hartline at the National Football Foundation Columbus chapter banquet on Monday night. His quote to Dan Hope of 11 Warriors: "A great honor, very humbled by it. I mean, coach can select anybody in the country who wants to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State, and he's trusted me for me to be one of those guys. So it means a lot." Hartline, according to the 11 Warriors story, says he learned a lot about how to lead an offense and spending the last year working alongside Chip Kelly. He said, quote, "His daily operation, his organization, thought process on game day, the way he communicates with Coach Day, his process in installing plays, deciding what he likes it or not." Adding, there was a lot, but I would just say, I think in hindsight, his communication style, his organization, on his process. So sounds like that one we know, and obviously that's Brian commenting on it. Nothing yet on the defensive side of things. I did see this from, I don't know what's real and what's not anymore on X. Bake, you sent this to me last night about Matt Patricia on the defensive side of things. I don't know where the connection would be there, other than Ryan is from that part of the country and Matt coached with the Patriots for a lot of years. Who knows? There's a lot of rumors about Joe Cullen was another one, the Kansas City Chiefs defensive line coach, that he could be in the mix. I have not heard those names. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I just have not heard those things. But I think you're just kind of waiting on that. That's kind of the last thing out there. Everything else has been sorted out as far as that coaching staff, and we're just waiting for something official on it. But there's going to be some rumors until it gets locked in.
It's interesting, some of these NFL guys, especially the Joe Cullen rumors, of why maybe this has taken so long with all of this. At first, you heard Matt Guerrieri, Tim Walton right away as guys in there, and it looked like maybe it was going to be an inside hire like they've done with all of the offensive guys, giving them promotions, at least what we're hearing. Again, like you said, nothing official on any of this except Ryan Day has been extending. But, yeah, that Matt Patricia reporting came kind of out of nowhere yesterday.
Well, is it reporting? I don't even know. I mean, I saw Jay Book kind of quote tweet it, but I don't know what the Silver Bulletin is.
Yeah, and I'm not sure in college football focus, who was another, again, and I don't know everything about them, but they kind of seemed to back that, talking about the Joe Cullen rumors, but saying they had heard another defensive coach from the NFL that had won 3 Super Bowl rings would be in for a visit. So you don't ever know exactly what's real and what's not.
It was easier in the old days when they verified the blue check mark and you didn't have to pay for it, because then you could kind of determine pretty quick what to look for. Now it's much, much more difficult in terms of what's real reporting and what's just scuttlebutt that somebody says on a message board. Second hour of the program up next. Patrick Mahomes is going to win multiple Super Bowls going forward. Among the topics of conversation, we will get to that and Dom at 10:30. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection, one that helps better their everyday through the things they value most: friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Hey guys, Anthony Rothman here. Let's talk about getting you back to your best. If you lack energy, muscle mass, feel moody, or have low libido, it could be low testosterone. You need to know your T level, so get tested. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be your answer, and you'll find true experts at Low T Center. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 credit when you refer a new patient. Go to lowtcenter.com to book the appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Buckeye fans, it's time for date night with Ohio State women's basketball. This Thursday, February 13th, join us at the Shot to watch the Buckeyes take on Minnesota. Don't miss out on themed games, unforgettable fan experiences, and the ultimate Buckeye traditions. Buy your tickets and gear up for game day at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. And everybody's had these pains, these little nicks, these things that you maybe had an injury when you were younger and you thought it went away. And then all of a sudden, as you get older, it starts to creep back. Doing everything, walking up the stairs, doing your favorite activities, golf, skiing, whatever it might be, the summer, the spring, the winter, it hurts. Hey, do not deal with it any longer. The hip, the knee, the shoulder, the back, whatever it is, there's good news. Go to QC Kinetics. They're groundbreaking treatments for that arthritis pain. They're going to make you feel better. The long-term relief, it's now possible. They're right here in Columbus under the leadership of Dr. Ray Tesner, founder of Grant Sport Medicine and a classically trained orthopedic surgeon. Don't wait. Make the call today. My dad and I did. His knee's starting to feel better. My knee feels better. They've got PRP treatments. They can change your life. I'm telling you right now. So go to qckinetics.com/Columbus for your free consultation or give them a call at 380-208-4544. It's not going to go away on its own. They've got 2 offices in Dublin and Gahanna, so check them out.
Get ready to make the big game even bigger at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. With 2 massive jumbotrons, over 50 feet of screen, and more than 30 TVs, you won't miss a single play, touchdown, or highlight. Fuel your game with mouthwatering food and bucket specials. Plus, warm up with our pregame cornhole toss for your chance to win big before kickoff. Reserve your table now for the best seat in the house. Visit HollywoodColumbus.com for more details. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1225. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1225. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1225. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-777-1225. 800-777-1225 or biglou.com.
Get ready, Columbus. The powerful and reliable 2025 Toyota Tundra SR can be yours for just $349 a month. That's right. Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Drive home in a truck built for adventure, performance, and power, all for an unbeatable price. But hurry, this deal won't last long. Visit Germain Toyota of Columbus today and experience the Tundra for yourself. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road or online at germaintoyota.net.
$3,999 down, 39-month lease, plus tax, title, and fees. No security deposit required with approved credit. Offer ends soon. See dealer for details.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reese. MLB pitchers and catchers report today. If you haven't heard the news, the Fan's your new home for the Reds in Columbus. Cincinnati's going to open spring training next Saturday versus Cleveland. We'll have that game on the Fan with first pitch February 22nd at 3:05. In the NBA, Luka Doncic made his Lakers debut last night, scoring 14 points in 24 minutes as Los Angeles beat Utah 132-113 in LA. LeBron James led with 24 points. In Cleveland, DeAndre Hunter debuted for the Cavaliers, scoring 12 points and committing 5 fouls as the Cavs smashed the Timberwolves 128-107. In college hoops, Ohio State's back at the shot tomorrow night, hosting Washington at 8:30. OSU looks to bounce back from Sunday's loss at Nebraska. Buckeyes are 6-7 in Big Ten play, 9-4 at home this season. Huskies are 1-5 on the road. This update is sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, give Dr. Mark Levy a call at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour now on a Tuesday edition. Time for The Real Truth. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present The Real Truth.
Sponsored by Diamond Cellar. Over 76 years of experience and guaranteed lowest prices on Sawmill Road or diamondcellar.com.
Patrick Mahomes will win 2 more Super Bowls during his career. Is that the real truth?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's easy to look back on what happened this weekend and kind of overreact to how poorly they played and how poorly he played, quite honestly. He's been bad. They were bad as a team in the loss to Tampa Bay, and where they just couldn't block it. And this one was similarly, like they just couldn't block it, and he was particularly bad. But the reality is he's still shy of 30. They're going to be able to build things around him. They will put other weapons around him as this thing goes on. They'll shore up the offensive line. They were still, guys, a month better than anybody else in the AFC West. So, like, their path to the AFC top seed and all that comes with it will continue. This was a really bad game for them and a bad performance for them, but I don't think they're going anywhere. They've played in 7 straight AFC championship games. I absolutely think they can play in a bunch more going forward, despite the AFC still being clearly, to me, top to bottom, the best conference. I do think they'll win 2 more. My hunch is he ends right at 5. I think that's where it's going to end up.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that's not even in his 30s yet, and I feel like he's one of those guys that he's so good, as long as he's there, they're going to have a chance, and that's a well-run organization. They still have a really good defense. Yeah. So I think 2 more are well within Patrick Mahomes' grasp.
It's funny, as everyone's doing the analysis, the pregame analysis of the Super Bowl, it's like, well, the Eagles are better everywhere, but the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And I think that just carries as long as he's playing at a high level for most of the season and as long as they're winning games the way they are through the regular season. They should let a country artist perform the halftime of Super Bowl 60 next February in San Francisco. Is that the real truth?
I don't know why not. So the last time I was curious about this because I started thinking about who would you want to see perform a Super Bowl halftime show. And I acknowledge that obviously Sunday wasn't for me. I just didn't know those songs. My kids loved it. I'm sure young people loved it. I actually think in a way that I'm trying to catch up on this, Reese. You correct? It seems to me like Drake kind of won a little bit, and that a guy kind of dedicated the biggest stage to like him, like he's in his head like that. I mean, I understand it was a takedown, but at the same point, like this is Super Bowl halftime, and you're worried about like this rap feud thing, like it was. And I think it does. From what I've read about it, it seems like maybe at the expense of playing some hits that were a little bit more established. Do I have that read right, Reese?
Yeah, I've definitely seen that where the argument's made that Drake was low-key a winner here because everybody was talking and thinking about Drake. I'm not young, but I enjoyed the hell out of that halftime show. I still think when you've got, 70,000 people calling you bad names, it's never a good day, but any publicity is good publicity certainly can apply here.
So the last time that they had a true, country Super Bowl halftime show was 1994. It was Clint Black, Tanya Tucker, Travis Tritt, and the Judds. That's a long time between Super Bowl halftime shows. So, yeah, I think that you probably could do a country one that would be pretty great. I'm not as hip to the, whatever the young kids are. I don't know if that's a Morgan Wallen. I don't know if that's Zach Brown Band or Zach Bryan. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what that would look like now. You could certainly play. I know he's in a little bit of legal trouble right now, but like Garth Brooks would obviously bring the house down, and he's never done it. So there are some guys out there, guys or gals, and a combination of all of them. I do think it would be a nice switch up. It seems like country music's as popular as it's ever been. Why not give them a Super Bowl halftime show? I don't know if it would fit to do it in San Francisco, but
the location.
They're probably due. I wonder
when the Titans open up their new facility. Or when they open up the new stadium in Nashville. Like, then do you kind of have to?
Well, when they get a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes all the sense in the world. I just don't. If it's been since 1994, it's probably due.
It's crazy that somebody as big as Garth Brooks has never done the Super Bowl halftime show.
Crazy.
I don't think this is the real truth, though. I think you just have to make sure whoever you have out there is immensely popular. You are never, ever, ever going to please everything with a musical appearance and a musical guest at the halftime of the Super Bowl. So as long as you have someone that's big enough to have people watching and then have the other people criticizing and talking about it, that is perfect for the NFL. So whatever you do, just make sure it's someone huge.
I think it's wild that country hasn't had one since 1994, though. I mean, that's 30 years. That's a long time to not run country music back.
I think what was the year on the country one?
94.
Because then you ran up against like the boy band and the pop era of music that started taking over stadiums, and I think that's when the NFL started to say, all right, what's popular now? It would be interesting to just want to like do a live Joe Rogan podcast during the halftime of the Super Bowl. Like, would that get people to listen?
Have you ever wondered about? I'm really curious about. Yeah, I don't. I think that's a great one, though. I don't know. It feels like it's more than due for that. We have, as I mentioned, since 1994. We've been in for a while. They were in the classical music thing. I mean, like, would you guys have? Here's some. I mean, this is pretty crazy. Like from '94, it's the country one I mentioned. Then they go. In 95, it's Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Forbidden Eye, Patti LaBelle, Teddy Pendergrass, Tony Bennett. I mean, then Diana Ross gets it in, and then the Blues Brothers, Dan Aykroyd and John Goodman, Jim Belushi, ZZ Top, Boys to Men, Smokey. I mean, they did like these huge, like celebration of Gloria Estefan in 1999 with Stevie Wonder. Big Bad Voodoo Daddy played at the Swingers Band. How about that?
I'm all for it.
Unbelievable. Phil Collins, Aerosmith and NSYNC, U2, Shania Twain. Oh, there you go. Shania Twain with No Doubt. So there's a little bit of it there. Yeah, they're probably due. The Prince one is up there. That's really close to one of the best. That was in Miami in 2007. As I mentioned, U2's was great. There's been some great ones.
I'm going to go back to the days where The Rock and Mankind wrestled for the WWF Championship.
Yeah.
Zack Werenski will be the talk of the hockey world after the Four Nations tournament. Is that the real truth?
No. He's our guy. I know you love him. I love him. We all love him. But talk of the hockey world, I think your wording here is a little bit too strong. Feels like Canada's the favorite, right? I mean, I assume. So feels like whoever's on their team. I think the talk of the hockey world is Sidney Crosby playing one more time with Canada and playing with McDavid and all of that. I think that's probably the talk of the hockey world. I could be wrong, but that's my hunch. He would have. It's so tough for like a defenseman to become the talk of the hockey world. He's certainly getting a lot of attention. I think everybody knows how great he is, but I think that's probably a little bit of a bridge too far.
It probably is a little too strong, but if the United States goes out there and wins, and it seems like the United States might, I think some people might be favoring them a little bit over Canada because of the goaltending that the United States has, and Canada's goaltending's a little shaky. Z opened up yesterday in their first practice on the top defensive pair with Charlie McAvoy with Quinn Hughes out. So
should be
interesting to see there that what role he plays here. Will he be the point man on the top power play, the number one power play? Will he get penalty kill time? He has a chance here to we know how much momentum he's had with his season this year. He's got a chance here to keep it rolling with a strong tournament.
You've also got coming out like of the Four Nations break, the trade deadline. So I think especially because, Z plays in Columbus, the hockey world, that's going to be a lot of focus on, what do teams like Vancouver do come that March 7th NHL trading deadline. Ohio State will not have a spring game slash showcase in 5 years. Is that the real truth?
So the idea here is the next 5 years, they will not, 5 years from now, they will just
phase it out over the next 5 years.
Okay. So this comes because they're not going to do a spring game. They're going to do a showcase this year. I got news for you. They haven't done like a traditional spring game in a while in terms of like offense. You draft a team, I draft a team. I think when I first got here, maybe they did. That's how it used to be. Like you played an actual game and they split the teams up evenly and you played a game. They don't do that anymore. I think this is not the real truth. I think they will always do something because it's profitable to do something and there is a thirst for it. So I think as long as you're going to get 80,000 people to go to that place and go to that cathedral in April and pay their $5 to $10 or whatever the admission is to go in there, and you can make that money to put it on, and as long as there's an interest for it, which there always will be around here, I think they will always do some sort of spring gathering that happens at the shoe celebrating the football team in some way, and football of some variation will be played. I just think there's too much to lose with it. Plus, it's like the unofficial start of spring in Central Ohio, so you can't lose that. So I don't think it's the real truth.
Yeah, this is not the real truth because of what you mentioned there, Bo. There are too many NIL opportunities with a spring game or a spring showcase or whatever you want to call it. Anytime you can get 80,000 people in the shoe, and like you said, $5, $10, $15, whatever it is, and that stuff can go to NIL now. Yeah, there's no way it goes away.
All right, there you go. There is your real truth on this fine Tuesday. All right, coming up next, Joe Burrow on the Dan Patrick Show. Would he have left Ohio State sooner if he played in this day and age? You'll get the answer to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus, 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Aaron, look what I invented.
Jerry, you're wearing a cape.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What is it that you promise our customers, Aaron?
We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Do you know who does that, Aaron?
We do?
Superheroes do that, Aaron. Superheroes!
I'm guessing you make capes for everyone?
That's right. Every plumber, electrician, and HVAC technician. But I'm not done, Aaron. I'm not done.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Now I'm inventing jetpacks so we can fly to the rescue like proper superheroes. Now say your line again.
We come through for you when you need us to?
No, say it like this. We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO. Jerry.
Yeah, Aaron?
How about we put those capes in the closet until you get the jetpacks perfected?
We'll look right when we take flight.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco. Plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
You know that project you've been working on? Just chipping away at it, dreaming of the day you get to show it off? Then, when you're least expecting it, cancer. And finishing that project actually happens. I would know. I've been restoring this car for years, and today I'm giving it to my granddaughter. It's her 16th birthday and 2 years since my cancer diagnosis.
Mom, you finished it?
Happy birthday, boo-boo. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans to learn more.
Hey, it's Anthony. I got to tell you, when you don't have the support you need, it affects everything. Feet, knees, hips, back, even your mood. I finally went to the Good Feet store, and once I was personally fitted for my arch supports, I felt a ton better. I will never wear another pair of shoes again without sliding in my personally fit Good Feet arch supports. That's because they help me eliminate my foot pain. It's such a good feeling knowing that I can be on my feet and not worrying about I'm going to wake up with low back pain or feel a weakness somewhere. I trust the Good Feet store because for more than 30 years, they've helped thousands of people just like me get back to feeling comfort on a daily basis. They take pleasure in that. And it's their personal 3-step system designed to support, balance, and strengthen your feet that guides them into their ideal position. I'm the proof. I wear them every day, even when I'm biking at the gym. So go in, take the free test walk at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
A.J. Hawk won a national title, a Super Bowl, and a Lombardi Award, but his weekly appearance on Morning Juice Fridays at 8:33 is the real highlight of his career. If he tells you otherwise, he's lying.
Sponsored by FanDuel.
The Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Ohio has over 920,000 diabetics. If you are a diabetic, take a step in the right direction by having your feet checked routinely by a podiatric physician, the most qualified doctors to care for your feet. Adding a podiatrist to your healthcare team can help you better manage the effects of diabetes on your feet. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are tracking a slight chance of snow out there today. Today's high will be around 34. Southern Ohio, though, is getting hit with a pretty sizable snowstorm, so be careful if you are traveling down there. Heading into tomorrow, we're looking at cloudy skies in the morning. Rain comes in by Wednesday afternoon with a high of 39. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
An encyclopedic knowledge of sports and other random things you may or may not care about.
I think I found my mentor.
Rockman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Pretty candid from Jason Kelce here on the X platform in the last couple of minutes. I was thinking about that from his perspective of a guy who bled, sweat, tears, all of it in Philly, and is so much the personification of what they've been and will be a Hall of Famer while they're playing his brother. I mean, I just can't. It was crazy that the two of them played against each other in a Super Bowl, but then the idea of watching, and it's like, well, who are you rooting for? And he has a very detailed kind of tweet about all of this. I think they're still called tweets. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles, my former teammates and friends, on being Super Bowl champions. A lot of emotions last night. Now that I've collected my thoughts, I'll attempt to share them in the longest tweet ever. And it's very, very long. But he talks about how odd it was to watch an organization with so many folks, teammates, coaches, who were a part of his life, juxtaposed to his brother, who's his brother, who he says here, there isn't a person I love more or care about in the world than my brother. I have a hard time processing these feelings and the greatness. So it's the last paragraph's great. Man, I love this sport, the people that play it, the fans that enjoy it, nothing else like it. Congratulations, Philadelphia. Look forward to the speeches and celebrations that will happen in the coming days. I mean, who doesn't love a parade? And then he quotes Chase Utley, which if you are remembering what he said, we know we can't say that on the FCC, and finishes it with a Go Birds. But yeah, strange. I'm sure that was strange because you want your brother to have success, but at the same time, like, you have spent more time with the folks in Philadelphia over the last decade plus than you have anyone else. It's such a strange spot to be in. And we've had some of these in the NFL. We had Kelce versus Kelce in a Super Bowl. We had Harbaugh versus Harbaugh in a Super Bowl in New Orleans about a dozen years ago. It's pretty odd how you think about how hard it is to get to the NFL at the highest level, but then also how we've seen, be it the Mannings, the Kelces, the Harbaughs, these families that are kind of intertwined in it.
Yeah, the thing with that tweet, like TLDR, can we go back to 140 characters? We write in paragraphs. Like, that does feel like the opening monologue for the New Heights podcast. And then he can just,
it's a long
and
ways,
then he can just say, like, here are my thoughts, and then drop the podcast link. Because, boy, we're really stretching how many characters we're putting in tweets now.
Well, is it I'm trying to think. Is it my guess is he's a verified. So I think
of course he is.
Go as much as he wants to. Is that how it works? I don't even know how it works.
Yeah.
I haven't even bothered to look into it. Yeah. This is like a Facebook
If
post.
it doesn't fit and I don't think anybody's on Twitter trying to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
But it is
emotional for him. I think it's a tough spot to try and that's probably a very tough one to try to navigate if you're the Kelce family and certainly Jason. And you saw the reporting that Barstool and others had that Travis was really bothered by the booing of Taylor Swift that happened when she was shown on the Jumbotron. you certainly get that, but that's in the brochure, I think. We talk about that all the time. Like, it's the Batman line, you're the hero long enough, you live to see yourself become the villain. I mean, I think you become so popular that the whole Chiefs dealt with that. They just became so popular, so great that people wanted to watch them fall. And that's part of it. And I think it probably is in the brochure.
And it's Philly fans.
Yeah, lots of Philly fans.
They threw snowballs at Santa.
I did see, I want to say it was Bill Simmons said that he thought it was like 50-50, Philly and Chiefs at the game. That by the time it got to the game, it was about 50-50 Chiefs-Philly. I noticed more boos when the Chiefs came out than I did anything else, which led me to believe that it was predominantly Bird fans. But the thing about the Super Bowl is it's so corporate. There really aren't that many fans there, true fans. They're pretty small sections. I mean, if you go to a Super Bowl, there's usually a section on each end that is reserved for like the true fans, and one team's on one end, one team's on the other, and everything else is kind of pretty corporate. It's not a great atmosphere at all. It's not particularly loud. It's nothing like what I've been to in terms of now. You'd have to ask somebody who attended this year's national championship game how great that atmosphere was, how the split was between Ohio State and Notre Dame, and if it felt corporate or not. But typically the Super Bowl is a very corporate event, and typically college football national championship game still feels like accessible to fans, whereas the NFL really isn't. It's tough to get into. Joe Burrow's been to a Super Bowl. He's won a national championship. He had a sit-down with Dan Patrick down at the Super Bowl that was pretty interesting. Saw this morning in the Skull session and said, I think we ought to play a little bit of that. Here is Burrow on Dan Patrick. Dan asked him if he lost confidence when he wasn't playing while he was here at Ohio State.
Yeah, 100% you doubt yourself. You don't, I didn't play for 3 years, and it wasn't because I was hurt. That wasn't a great feeling. I was working very hard and improving every single week, and just never put it all together there. And so I had my dad and both of my brothers played college ball, so I was able to talk to them about it, lean on them about their experiences and learning from them.
The sixth one I think is pretty interesting because I think most of us would acknowledge that Joe Burrow is kind of the best case scenario for how to develop a quarterback. He talked there about the frustration in not playing for 3 years, but at the same time, the development that happened led to, I think, and most people think, what happened at LSU. He was here for 3 years. That base of development was done, and then he went to LSU, and by the time he's into the second half of that first year at LSU, it was really starting to click. And then his senior year is, along with Cam Newton's 1 year at Auburn, the two best seasons anyone's ever seen in the history of the sport, playing really any position, but especially quarterback, the most important position. Dan did ask Joe if he would have left Ohio State sooner in the current free transfer landscape.
I probably would have transferred much earlier than I did, but I had to graduate to go and play at the time. The transfer portal wasn't a thing when I think it became a thing the next year after I transferred, but I still think you had to sit out a year.
That's an interesting one because if he had transferred earlier, it's almost like his path, I'm sure it was painful for the 3 years not to play, but his path netted the ultimate result. And if he left after his freshman year, what would the options have been?
I have no reason to doubt Joe Burrow on that, to say that he's lying, but Joe Burrow wasn't a huge prospect coming out of high school. He talks in this interview about Ohio State was like the only Power 5 that really offered him. So I don't know how many people would have been clamoring for Joe Burrow that hadn't played at all yet. And if you remember correctly, he had a broken wrist, I believe it was, and it's the reason he didn't play in that Michigan game, and Haskins did. And if Joe Burrow would have went into that game, how different maybe all of this would have been. Haskins had the edge that next spring because Burrow didn't play in that Michigan game, and then he kept the starting job. So I wonder just how true that is, if that could have all played out possibly differently.
Well, here it's one of the great sliding doors moment in Ohio State football history, because if Burrow plays instead of Haskins, and Burrow wins the job, he's the quarterback for the next 2 years. So the other flip of that coin is you got a record-setting year out of Dwayne Haskins, and then you got Justin Fields for 2. So it almost like everybody wins. Obviously, Joe won ultimately, won the Heisman, won the national title, all of it. But Ohio State won pretty big, too, to have 2 first-round draft pick quarterbacks during that time. To your point about his offers, he was asked about if he didn't have the Ohio State offer, what he would have done. Here's Burrow on that.
I did, yeah, I did. If I had gone there, I probably would have played both football and basketball. I was thinking about doing that. Ohio State was really kind of one of my only, Power 5 big-time school offers. And if I didn't have one of those, I probably just would have stayed at OU and played both.
People forget how good of a basketball player he was. He was great.
Phenomenal athlete.
He could shoot.
Yeah, he could. He could flat out stroke it. He did have. I thought this was candid, and I was a little surprised by this. He did have some advice for high school players with NIL. Here's Burrow.
Yeah, you should take advantage of. If you're going to be able to make 7 figures in college, you got to go and take advantage of that. If you're in high school and you're getting offered that, go wherever they're paying you the most.
That's a little naive. Because there's no way to verify who's paying you the most. And I think what you're probably trying to do if you are the parent of a high school kid who's in this spot and trying to decide where to go is strike a balance between NIL compensation, player development, program strength, their vision for you as a player. It's probably not as simple as go to the highest bidder. Then you end up like Jaden Rashada and you bounce around. And he's just one example of it, but this happens that's a high profile example of it, but this happens all over the sport where who's paying me the most, I'm going there, and then you fall off the face of the earth pretty quickly. And the money's going to be the money. As long as it's verified and it's there, the money is pretty undefeated, but at the same time, I think you're looking for a much bigger picture than that. You think about what his career has been, the 3 years sitting here, the all-time season at LSU, number 1 overall pick, leads the Bengals to a Super Bowl appearance very early in his tenure, and you'd argue that this offseason is the most important one of his career. And we'll get to that coming up at 11 o'clock. When you talk about true contenders in the NFL, are the Cincinnati Bengals one of them? Dom Tiberi in 2 minutes, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Rodeo fans, saddle up for the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo, February 15th at Nationwide Arena. Come early for autographs, pony rides, and more. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. It's the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo.
These days, it feels like everyone is talking about how the American dream of homeownership has become out of reach for so many of us. Well, Rocket is trying to give us more of a chance to own our homes. They're making homeownership simpler and more accessible to more people, turning renters into owners. Rocket believes that every one of us deserves a shot at the American dream. So, are you ready? Own the dream. Visit Rocket.com. That's Rocket.com.
The county just requested more electric charging stations.
Orders have really amped up at Able Electric.
We need 3 more at First in Maine, and we just got another hotel chain.
It's no shock. Able Electric needs able electricians.
Grocery store wants charging stations, too.
And fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Bishop and Friends present Tuesdays with Tiberi.
Stop struggling.
We good?
I'm good. You good?
No, I don't know if we're good. I mean, are we good? We're good.
Yeah,
okay,
we're
there
good.
he is. Okay, we're all of a sudden it's hearing all sorts of stuff. Dami is here. He is on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Your favorite thing about the Super Bowl was what?
Not much. I don't know. Not too much. I I can't not believe the way the Eagles dominated the Chiefs. I mean, they never woke up. It was amazing. And I know some people were picking on Mahomes, but that guy got beat back there. I mean, he took some shots, and on the one interception, people are, well, what kind of throw was that? Well, the defensive guy pushed his lineman into him and hit him as he threw the ball. I mean, it was, I don't know. I thought it was not that good of a Super Bowl myself. I'm happy the Eagles won. I'm happy for Jalen Hurts and all that. But, I don't know. I thought it was kind of not that good. What'd you say?
Was there a commercial that you enjoyed, or how did you think about the commercial?
Not really.
No,
not really. Nothing. I just thought it was, I don't know. I mean, the halftime show was somewhat entertaining, but it didn't knock me off my, I mean, I remember when Katy Perry rode out on a lion in the middle. Remember that?
Yes,
I
do.
want to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there was an extravaganza for a while where, I mean, Lady Gaga was like on top of the stadium. Where they do a little bit of that with this certainly was not that. I said on the Kendrick Lamar halftime thing, like it was the first time, buddy, that I just felt old because I didn't know the songs. I knew a little bit about like the beef that he had with Drake, but not much. But then I looked over and my kids loved it. So I went, it's not for me. It just wasn't for me.
Well, and I think that's the world we live in, buddy. And I'm trying to stay hip. I've got these young kids, and they're trying to give me lingo. And I went home and I used some of it on the wife, and she like looked at me like I had to go stand in the corner. I was in timeout, and that's the world. I'm trying to be hipper. And saying hipper is not even hipper. I mean, what I think is interesting, and I can't use the words these kids have taught me now.
Yeah.
But they use 8 words. Like if you fall down, say, "Wow, I fell." Yeah. No, you don't say that. You say, and you can't say it, but it's like you're saying 5 words when you could say 1. And I don't know. That's all this code.
What I do with my kids is I talk like them to them, and then they get super annoyed. So, one of the things they're saying a lot now, they've been saying it for a long time, but, like, they'll say, like, mid. Oh, it's mid. That's mid. Like, that type of stuff.
I know.
And if you compliment anyone, they'll be, you're just glazing them. Why are you glazing? I'm like, I don't know. I just said it was a good steak. Like, is that glazing? So, like,
glazing is what you put over a ham.
You love a ham. That's right. That is
I like a good ham, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like they've got this whole now, and you know what? I think back to when we were kids. I don't know. Did we have a lingo like this? This is like some of this stuff makes absolutely no sense.
I'm sure we did. I just think it's easier. It's easier for it to be spread around because they're all on phones, so it's quicker. They get the stuff quicker. They get the lingo a little bit quicker that way.
Yeah. Well. I don't know. But, the Super Bowl was okay. I was shocked at how inept Kansas City was. And make no bone about it, they got annihilated. That was, oh, my goodness. That was – and Travis Kelce. And I thought it was interesting, some of the stuff that took place. And, the first time that the President of the United States went to a Super Bowl. And,
Is that the first time?
That's the way I understand it. First time ever a sitting president went to the Super Bowl.
Well, he eliminated the penny like in the middle of the third quarter. I was excited about that.
Well, I mean,
the heck with it. We don't need them.
I can't remember the last time I had change in my pocket.
My kid asked me that. My oldest asked me that. He's like, "Why do you have all these coins like in the cup holder in my car?" And I'm like, honestly, it's probably drive-through change. And then I started to think to myself, when's the last time that I paid for something with a drive-through with cash? I can't even remember. And then when is so that made me think that like that change has probably been in that car for like 5 years, and I've never used it.
I mean, no one does.
No.
So I wanted to ask you,
sure,
what's your take on the senator becoming a lieutenant governor?
I mean, buddy, I was at a press conference, and I'm pretty sure you were there too, where it was coming out of Tatgate, it was the first time he had talked since like the Tatgate stuff happened, which is obviously such nonsense now, but it was a really big deal then, as you remember. And I was in the press room at the Woody Hayes, and I'm pretty sure you were there too. And he spoke for 50 minutes of the allotted hour without taking a commercial, and he went over every fine young champion on the roster. Yeah. So, do I think he can be a politician? Yes, I do.
Well, you know what's funny? When we were in Atlanta, I was interviewing him down in Atlanta, and Marcus Freeman played for him at the coach at Notre Dame, and then he's become a confidant to Ryan Day, and he's very close to both coaches, and he talked about his love for both of them. And I said, okay, Tress, I'm in a moment of truth. I'm going to put you on the spot. Who wins the game and why? And he goes, Dom, when I was coaching, you called me the senator because you said I never really answered a question. I'm not going to answer that. I can't, But he knew what he was doing. And, I think you and I both know him well enough that he's not going to do anything halfway. If he's in, he's in. And, he said 699 days, that's all he's focused on. And, I don't know if you saw the news conference. He said, much like when I came to Ohio State and I was focused on 310 days. And, that famous, he threw back to, and you'll be proud of it. But, I don't know. People are saying, do you think he'll run for governor when it's up? And I don't know what he'll do. But I know that, I like Jim Trestle. I'm a fan of his. But, there's no tougher job to me. Probably the two toughest jobs in the state of Ohio are governor and Ohio State football coach. And you can go whichever one you think, depending on whatever. But, being on the hot seat and, this guy obviously loves Ohio. He gets it. But, someone asked me one time, they said, what's the difference between Urban Meyer and Jim Trestle? And I said, let me give you this example. I said, if you ask Coach Tress what time it is, he will give you a 30-minute answer. He will give you everything you ever wanted to know about time. The cavemen first started doing it. The Swiss make the best watches. And you will know everything there is to know about watches, time, and everything. But at the end of it, you still don't know what time it is. And Urban will just say, it's 3 o'clock. Next question.
That's right. Or he'll say, look at your phone, dummy. That's what he would. That's how I think this with Tress, too. Like, he's probably the one answer to, like, if he were to run for governor, he would probably be the one person who could run who you couldn't really negatively campaign against. Like, if you negatively campaigned against Tress, wouldn't you just lose?
I don't know. I mean,
you can't talk.
I think
you can't negatively talk about Tress.
Yeah, and
you'd be done.
The thing is, we all are kind of shocked, but think about this. I first met Tress in the early '80s. He was an assistant coach for Earl Bruce at Ohio State. Then he goes to Youngstown. Then, a huge shocker. I mean, you think about it. Although he was very successful at Youngstown, winning 4 national titles, he had never been at a big program like Ohio State. They bring him here. He's a huge success. Played for 3 national titles in 9 years and in 10 years and won one of them. And then he goes from here and he becomes the president at Youngstown State.
Oh, he's a VP at Akron first.
Yeah, and absolutely. And so it's like this guy, don't ever sell him short and don't ever think he can't do something, because he loves proving his critics wrong, and we've seen it. The one thing, and I told the news folks yesterday, they asked me to come on the air and talk about him, and I'll never forget. I was in his office with him in 2000, just before the national title game, and we were talking. He wanted to ask me a question, and I was in there with him, and he said, he asked me, he goes, what do you think? And I said, he was talking about how no one was giving him a chance. And he said, I don't care. I don't want to hear that. He said, all I want is in. I just want a chance, because you can't win it if you're not in. You can't win it if you're in, you have a chance, and that's all I want, a chance. And it always stuck with me, because I remember back in 2014, and Tress saying, "Just get in, and anything can happen." And I think about people so negative about Ohio State in 2014 that they had no business. I remember in 2002, everyone saying Miami was going to kill Ohio State. They had no business, but you saw what happened because they had a chance, and it's and he's absolutely right. But it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, you're right. I think he crosses party lines too. I think he's just that popular. You know what I mean?
No doubt. I think he's the one person you couldn't. It'd be like when Tom Osborne when it was senator of Nebraska. Like it's just a matter of how much is he going to win by. Like I think he would cross over party lines, and I think he'd be like the one guy. Like if you tried to negatively campaign against, you would lose. And I'm not talking about losing in terms of the message. I'm saying like you would lose votes. I don't think you could negatively campaign against him. So he's kind of Teflon Don in that sense.
Yeah, and I got to be honest with you. I'm shocked he would want to do it. I mean that. In today's world, the political environment and all that. Yeah, but you know what?
Cool. Check it off the bucket list.
Yeah, and he said, I think he means it because he loves Ohio. He said, "I'm doing this. I was asked, and I'm doing this for the state of Ohio because this is, I owe the state of Ohio a lot." And I
think it's cool.
It is. I'm like I said, I'm a big fan of Tress and always have been because. I love the way he ran his program, and he loved his kids, and he was an underdog his whole life. It seems like.
All right, we'll do it again next week. Thanks for your time, buddy.
See you, brother. Have a good day. And hey, I'll have some. I'm going to get some hip words next week, and we should just talk. You talk to your kids, and I'll talk to my kids, and then we'll just have a lingo hip. We'll just be two hipsters.
I don't think hipsters is the path, though. I think we got to find another
word than hipster.
I think what you're like what they say.
They give me are bad words, and I'm going. I can't say that.
I think that instead of hip, I think like what they're saying a lot is I'm Himothy. Like that's what I'm getting a lot of. Is that?
I had these girls tell me I was drippy when I was at a ball game.
There you go.
And I'm going, oh, really? Thanks. And they go, no, that's a compliment. You're fly, or I don't know what it was. They like my suit, but I was drippy.
There you go.
Did you know I'm drippy?
I know. You got a lot of things going for you. We'll talk soon. There you go.
Oh, yeah, I got that going for me. Goodbye.
Which is nice. Don from Channel 10 on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Let's go. 821-9710 is a phone number. We got a giveaway for you. 2 tickets to the Buckeyes against Washington. That is tomorrow. Tickets on sale through OhioStateBuckeyes.com. Since Dommy's Channel 10, we'll go 10th caller at 821-9710. Scoops those up. Thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's Sponsored Jobs feature helps you stand out and hire fast. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on the Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
This is Daily Show. Coach Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. We saw Micah Parrish in the most recent game score 30 points in the game at Nebraska. What is it about him that makes him such a volume scorer at times?
Well, I think he can score at multiple levels, and he's really had success, shooting threes and ability to shoot threes off the bounce, but also get to the rim and finish with his size, especially when he has smaller guys on him.
We'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review,
There is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob. At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.
Jake, we're asking about Micah Parrish, and to think back to the Maryland game, while Bruce Thornton kind of took center stage with the way he played, we saw Micah come up with some of the most difficult baskets that turned out to be scores that a guy can have. Is that part of his skill set?
Yeah, I would also add a couple big offensive rebounds. So, his size in the paint, when he's matched up against a smaller guard, he's been really good, efficient, and effective.
Was rebounding always part of his picture coming in here?
Yeah, we felt like in recruiting him that he would be someone who could add value in that space, and he's done a good job at it at the guard position.
All right, this is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint. With their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind or grab a carryout. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Say yes to Diamond Seller's Wedding Weekend on February 21st and 22nd. Enjoy buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and special no-interest financing on engagement rings. Visit us in-store and learn more at diamondseller.com.
Scotty Vegas here, offering you a sure bet. If you choose Awaken 180, you will succeed. We all did. I dropped my 35 pounds. Austin dropped his 50, and Beam is almost down 52. What's stopping you? A sure bet at awaken180weightloss.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The perfect show for quarter zips and khaki shorts. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Tuesday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
Looks like Alex Rodriguez is one step closer to being a part owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Minnesota Lynx. A 3-person arbitration panel sided with Mark Lore and Alex Rodriguez yesterday in a sales contract dispute against owner Glenn Taylor. The ruling sets up a vote among fellow NBA owners to decide control of the franchises. The arbitrators determined Taylor violated the terms of the sales agreement when he announced last March that Laura and Rodriguez had missed a deadline for a $600 million payment that would have secured an 80% majority control of the teams. In documents since submitted to the NBA league office, Laura and Rodriguez showed they have raised an additional $950 million and placed it in an escrow account and are ready to finish the purchase and operate the teams. To help fund the deal, they've added billionaire former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg and former Google CEO Eric Schmidt as partners, among others. Taylor's twice tried to put the Wolves up for a sale, only to change his mind and withdraw them at the last second. Thing or not a thing?
Pretty big thing. So doing some of the reading on this, I think Taylor put it up for sale, accepted the price, and then realized it was way low. and is like, I should have gotten a lot more for this thing. I think the other thing that happened is Anthony Richardson happened. So all of a sudden you get Anthony Richardson and you're like, oh, we have a super duper star. So I think those two things probably factored into this. This probably seems to me like they got this right. He put the team up for sale. They agreed on a price. They tried to buy it, and at the last minute he goes, they had an agreement, and then at the last minute he's like, actually, we don't. Well, no, you do. And so I think this is probably the just ending of this thing.
When you're first reading that and you hear, well, if they missed a deadline, that's on him. But it seems like nefarious dealings from Mr. Taylor here multiple times. And, yeah, maybe Anthony Edwards changes the value of the franchise. But if you agreed on a seller's price, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it was in writing or not. Was this a gentleman's agreement, a handshake agreement? Who knows? But
if you got arbiters saying
this was a contract.
There's a contract.
Yeah, so it seems like Mr. Taylor is up the old creek without a paddle.
Well, he's still going to have $1.5 billion, so he'll have plenty of paddles. But in terms of Reese, read the last part that you put in the prep here. I thought this was part of this, but you actually have the details.
So you said $1.5 billion. Seems a little low for an NBA team. Well, the Suns sold in 2023 for $4 billion. And the Mavericks sold last year for $3.5 billion. The Charlotte Hornets, who were closer in market size to the Minnesota Timberwolves, sold for $3 billion back in 2023. And a co-controlling share of the Milwaukee Bucks sold in 2023 for $3.5 billion.
Yeah, so he's way low on the value. Way low. By the way, like Minneapolis, it's like a top 10 market in the country. It's a big city, Minneapolis, St. Paul, that region. So like, he just way undersold it. It's probably worth more like 3.5.
The San Francisco 49ers have granted Debo Samuel and his agent Troy Dandy permission to find a trade partner. The move comes after Samuel asked the 49ers to trade him after the player's exit meetings in the offseason. He's coming off an injury-riddled season. He had 806 scrimmage yards and 4 touchdowns in 2024. Those were his lowest totals outside of 2020 when he played in just 7 games. In September, the Niners restructured Samuel's contract, making it financially difficult to part ways with him before June 1. If they were to trade or release him before that date, they'd face a $31.5 million dead cap charge. But if they designate his release after June 1st, but before a $23 million option bonus is due on the 23rd of March, they could spread the cap hit over 2 years, reducing it to $10.75 million per year. Thing or not a thing?
This is not a thing, because I think we all saw this coming. They paid Brandon Ayuk. They're not going to be able to pay all of them. They've got to pay Bosa. They got to pay Purdy. Like, they are reaching the point now where because they have to pay Purdy, they can't keep all these folks. I also do wonder if Debo Samuel is. My theory on this is that he's going to be kind of like one of those ultra physical running backs that when it goes quick. His game was predicated on his versatility and then his strength. And how hard he was to take down. But as you age, that starts to dissipate. So I don't know how much he has left in the tank. He's been a great player for them, but this isn't a surprise to me that he's going to seek to play elsewhere.
Yeah, I don't think this is a thing at all, because I don't think Debo Samuel is a guy that is a number one receiver, and I don't think he's a guy that he could be a piece on a Super Bowl winning team, but I think that's it. He's just a piece. He's never going to be the main reason you win a Super Bowl, so this is not a thing to me.
We'll go back to the NBA real quick. The Charlotte Hornets have been in contact with league offices as they explored options to dispute the Lakers' failed physical assessment of center Mark Williams. The Hornets are considering their next steps and weighing avenues to challenge the Lakers' evaluation process or seek alternative resolutions with the league office. Williams was traded last week for Dalton Knecht, Cam Reddish, a 2030 pick swap, and LA's 2031 first-round pick. Then 2 days after that deadline, Mark Williams failed his physical. It showed multiple issues. He's missed 60% of the Hornets' games over his last 3 seasons for separate back and foot issues. Thing or not a thing?
Pretty big thing. Pretty big thing for the Charlotte side of it. Interesting on the... I don't know that this will... You watched the Lakers last night, as I did. Obviously, they need another rim protector, and he would have done that. But the amount of games he missed is big. I actually thought, in comparison to like what they gave up for Luka, this was a lot. Like, Knecht has proven to be a nice little player. It's the only first-round pick they have left is the 2031 first. That's the last one. They've traded all the rest of them. So the fact that they put this in the deal is pretty wild to me. So it's possible that maybe this all works out in the wash for the Lakers and they address the big situation at some point this summer.
Can this be a thing and not a thing all at once? I think this is a thing because I never thought this was a great deal for the Lakers. I've never heard of Mark Williams, and Dalton Knecht seemed to be a promising young guy, and Cam Reddish was a depth piece in the pick. But this is not a thing to me because the dude's missed 60% of his games. Of course he's going to fail this physical. What is a thing to me, though, is on these trades, especially these trade deadline trades, how do they not have a uniform NBA physical process that you go through that would say yay or nay on these, and it's each team's he said, she said?
That's how it is in all sports. I don't know if it's that way. I can't speak, I guess, to NHL, but that's how it is in the NFL. When you do a trade, it's the team's docs who do the examination, who can veto the trade. So I think that's just the way it is. They got to get your hands on them to kind of see what it's all about. All right, final hour of the program up next. What sports secret would you like to know? Among the topics of conversation. Also hit some NFL tiers as we head into the offseason. John Breech at 11:30. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Are men and Bone stupid in real life? Yes. Yes, they are. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now to receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell furnaces instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Ohio State will begin spring football on Monday, March 17th. That's about 5 weeks from yesterday. Buckeyes are going to practice 14 times over a 4-week span, then hold their final spring practice in Ohio Stadium Saturday, April 12th. It's traditionally the Ohio State spring game. This year it's being labeled a spring showcase. Ohio State says they'll provide more information on that in the coming weeks. Buckeyes reportedly closer to finalizing their coaching staff for the 2025 season. Brian Hartline's going to be their new OC. A new DC is expected in the coming days. The Ohio State men's basketball team is back at the Shot tomorrow night, hosting Washington at 8:30. And in hockey, the Four Nations face-off begins Wednesday. Team USA plays Finland Thursday at 8 o'clock. Zack Werenski will skate with the U.S. team. The Blue Jackets are off until February 22nd. This update sponsored by Germain Toyota, the best selection of new and used cars in Central Ohio. View their full selection of vehicles online at germaintoyota.net.
They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a Tuesday edition of the program. I just saw this on the X platform. via Barstool Sports. The FBI is releasing 2,400 new documents on the JFK assassination. That's 14,000 pages that were kept secret until now. 2,400 new documents.
Which one's the one that says who did it? Like, that's the only piece of paper we're concerned with here.
That's the one. Where are you on JFK assassinations? I will say this.
You want me to power rank them?
buddies of mine who have gone down this rabbit hole, and then you can't get out of it. Like, it kind of wrecks your life for a month when you start going, because there's so much information on it and so much theory on it. There was the JFK movie that Oliver Stone did 30 years ago that had a great deal of conspiracy to it. There's all sorts of did he act alone? If you've been to Dealey Plaza, I've been there. It's surreal when you're driving around on like a media shuttle, and all of a sudden you drive down that road and you're like, oh, baby, I've seen this turn before. So that's all pretty wild.
As you say that, 666 viewers hit our YouTube channel. Now, I'm not saying, but
I think Reese, you're younger than Bake and I think that there's, for our generation, we were probably the last one that was kind of tangentially connected. Like my mom loved JFK. I think every woman who was that age loved him in the 60s. He's a lot to kind of aspire to, like the Kennedy and all of that stuff. So it was something that she was curious about. I had a listener once, this was years ago, maybe a decade ago. I had a listener once who sent me an email with, like, I want to say he was a professor who this was like one of his areas of expertise. And he sent me an email that felt like 10,000 words maybe on it. And just all of the various machinations of how he believed it happened. I do find this I'm curious to know. I mean, like, this and the Area 51 stuff are probably the two biggest ones out there, aren't they? From like a United States history perspective?
Yeah, I would say Area 51's gained a little bit more traction in recent years as I think actual elected officials are going in front of subcommittees and saying, hey, we got to tell people about this stuff, or we got to unseal some of these files.
Bo, I cannot get into this because it is going to be like the OJ stuff to me. Like, anything that comes out on OJ or has ever, I consume all of it, because that was like the first big, like, major news thing that got covered that I remember, and all of that. And I just consume all of it. And if I go down this rabbit hole with the JFK stuff, I'll miss the show. I'll just keep going on it.
Wikipedia's really made it a thing for people in my generation, because you search something on Wikipedia and then you just click another link, or you click someone's name and you just keep clicking. And all of a sudden you're just down in some rabbit hole that you didn't think 20 minutes prior you were going to end up in, but you can't stop because it's kind of like eating Pringles. Like, you're not going to eat just one.
Yes.
And all of a sudden the tube's gone.
Yeah, I was trying to think, like, what is the sports equivalent of it? Like, what is the one thing that you would love to know the truth of in sports? I mean, like, was it Malcolm Butler who did not play in the Super Bowl, and like we never got an answer for it for the Patriots? Wasn't that it?
Was it the year after the? It was
after
the interception.
Yeah, and I think, like, wasn't he the one? Do I have that right? I should have. I mean, this all just happened the last couple of minutes, but
I mean, there's so many things.
He was benched. Yeah, that's one. I'm not that curious about it because not a huge Patriots guy. But is there something there where what is the real truth on that one?
I've got one recently of a certain quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
Ooh, that's
and a TikTok video, and the date stamp and the time stamp on that relative to what certain doctor's orders were.
I'd love to know. I'd love to go back and know the exact moment that that Baker Mayfield's relationship with the Cleveland Browns front office and coaching staff broke.
You just get the timestamp on the YouTube video that OBJ's dad edited.
Yeah, that that one I can help you with. That wasn't one moment. That was a build that led to that point. Tyler goes, I put it up on social. I said, what's with the JFK stuff being made public, what's the biggest sports mystery you'd want to know the truth about? This is two good ones from Tyler and Matt. Matt's is really good. Tyler, I'd love to know what happened between Vrabel and Urban. Matt with a great one. Michael Jordan's first retirement. That's probably the answer. That's probably the sports answer. If you could get the real truth on that, for the kids out there who don't remember that, Michael Jordan out of nowhere, after winning a third NBA championship consecutively with the Chicago Bulls, retired out of nowhere. And his dad had just passed, and there was some conjecture that was it, that he needed to just, or his dad had been murdered. He hadn't been passed. He'd been murdered in a carjacking. And there was some conjecture that he just couldn't process playing basketball at that point. But then he went and played baseball for the Chicago White Sox, the Birmingham Barons specifically. But he went to go play for the White Sox. And who are the White Sox owned by? Jerry Reinsdorf, who also owns the Chicago Bulls. So it was like, well, wait a second. What is going on here? And he was out for 2 years. And then in the middle of the season, post All-Star break, I want to say, after 2 years out, he sent a fax saying, I'm back. And then he came back and he was wearing number 45. I mean, it was just, that's probably the one, is that one. That's the best one I can think of.
There's so many layers to that one.
Yeah. The lot of folks weighing in on that one. There's a couple other ones that jump out. The NBA draft, Radu with the NBA draft frozen envelope. So that goes back to Patrick Ewing in the 84 draft. There was always been this thought that the NBA wanted Ewing to play for the Knicks. And so Dave DeBusschere, I think, was the guy who was the GM of the Knicks at that time. There was always this thinking that they put the envelope with the Knicks pick frozen, so that you could feel the cold one and hold it up as having the number one pick in the draft. Tyler, I can't sell some of this stuff. I can't do. Can't do it on the radio. We got a live radio show here, buddy. It's for the kids. Meta wants to know who drafted Johnny Manziel, who pushed for DeShaun Watson. Well, I know who pushed for DeShaun Watson. It was the folks running the front office for the Cleveland Browns pushed for DeShaun Watson. Andrew Berry, Paul DePodesta, they pushed for it. For him, and we've been over that side of it as well. This is a good one from Tyler. I'd like to know if LeBron tanked the Boston series on purpose to take his talents to Miami. I don't think he tanked it on purpose, but I think it's a little bit like Kobe. Kobe did this against the Suns a few years previously when they were the 8th seed, and they won the first 2 games. I want to say at that time it was a 5-game series. They won the first 2 games in the series, and then when it came to a game 5, he basically just passed the ball to everybody else and said, this is what happens if I don't get help. It's me on an island. And I do think that's what LeBron did that year against Boston. He was great, but I think it was in the way kind of like, I can't beat them on my own. I can't. The Lakers got Kobe, Pau Gasol. I need to have somebody like that. And I think there was probably a little bit of signs of protest. In retrospect, I think that would be a fun one if you could actually get LeBron and his group to be candid about what happened in the lead up to the decision.
Just some of those conversations with Dan Gilbert, and
when they were meeting at IMG up in Cleveland and they were having those meetings up there, what led to Miami? What was the determining factor for Miami? It ended up working out for kind of everybody because the Cavs don't get that influx of talent if he doesn't leave that netted him Kyrie Irving, which helped net them a championship when LeBron returned. But what led them to Miami? Were there conversations at all around what will the blowback be here and what damage will this do to your brand? Who was the one who said, hey, let's go to the Boys and Girls Club in Connecticut? Which, of all the places where Boys and Girls Clubs are needed, that's probably not the top of the list of ones in an affluent suburb of New York City in Connecticut. What led them to that? That's one that I think has a little bit of juice to it.
I think it'd be interesting if we could ever find out exactly how much Pete Rose was betting on baseball and what his bets were, what exactly he was placing those bets on.
Yeah.
And then maybe we could determine if he should be in the Hall of Fame or not. If it's egregious enough to keep him out?
I think he was betting on all of it. I just don't care. I think he should be in anyway.
Either,
I think he bet on all of it and probably did so much worse. Rich with a good one. Did Harbaugh's team really have COVID in 2020? Chris, if UNLV shaved points in the loss to Duke in the Final Four, that one I could make an absolute argument that they did. Greg, if you don't remember that game, they're undefeated. They're playing Duke. Greg Anthony had never fouled out of a game ever, and he fouled out with like 3 or 4 minutes to go in the game. Larry Johnson gives up a pretty clear path and he was a National Player of the Year, to tie the game. And instead, he passed it to Anderson Hunt, who shot like a 38-foot shot that missed. So that would be a good one. Ryan, with this one, did the Franco Harris ball touch the ground? That's in the Immaculate Reception. I don't know how it didn't, to be honest, but you'll never know because there's no camera angles for it. Phil, what Mason Rudolph said to Miles. That's a great one. Because
how they don't have that mic'd up.
There's no way they don't.
Right.
It was a Thursday night game, right?
They mic everything, yes.
Yeah, they had
mic
1,000 mics at that thing. So yeah, they definitely did that. Andy, why did they pull the tarp in Game 7 of the 2016 World Series? Does that one hit home for you, Reese?
Ow. Stupid rain delay.
Yeah, there's some good ones out there for sure. I think the Jordan first retirement is the pinnacle of it. I would really like to know the real truth on that. We'll hit some NFL tiers as we head into the offseason. Coming up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Hey, Bobby Carpenter here from Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric. Maybe your furnace isn't running so well. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater, or maybe it's just a leaky sink. Let my team take care of you the same way they take care of all my championship buddies. Check us out at carpentercolumbus.com.
At Meijer, we work hard to bring more of the good life to your life, so you can bring home more perfectly plump and flavorful produce picked for precise freshness, beautifully marbled beyond brag-worthy certified Angus beef, and more must-have money-saving M-Perks rewards. Because saving more on local favorites is good, but bringing home more of what you love in every trip, that's the good life. We do more to make life a good deal better at Meijer.
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Life. It's full of strange twists and unexpected surprises. But at AAA, it's always been our policy to look on the plus side. And our AAA Plus members tend to take the same view. Take Martin, for example. Last Monday, his morning coffee surprised him with an extra 10 degrees of Fahrenheit. Ouch! It was just the jolt of energy he needed to start the day. Later, when his shirt was targeted by the mustard on his burger, he became a proud trendsetter.
Martin, looking good.
And when he walked face first into a sparkling glass door, he was happy to provide some much-needed entertainment for his coworkers.
I'm okay.
And of course, when his car battery took early retirement, Martin felt no resentment. He knew there was a plus side. AAA's expert roadside assistance was only a call away.
Hello, AAA. Are you in a safe location?
While we can't all be like Martin, we can become a AAA Plus member and experience the peace of mind that comes with living on the plus side. Towing is subject to a 7-day waiting period. Terms and conditions apply.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and there's no limit. Plus, no interest financing for 3 years. That's 36 months, people. And if you already have a price from another company, Universal Windows Direct will beat it, so you know you're getting the best deal around.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Rodeo fans, saddle up for the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo, February 15th at Nationwide Arena. Come early for autographs, pony rides, and more. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. It's the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh no. Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Tomorrow.
Ohio's public school students deserve the opportunity to thrive, to get a world-class education that inspires their curiosity, imagination, and desire to learn, to have the supports they need to succeed in our classrooms and beyond. Our public schools must have fully funded resources to meet our students' needs. Tell your lawmakers to support public school funding.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move. A pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Looking at a cloudy and dreary day in the Columbus metro area. Today's high will be 34. There will be some snow once you get down towards Pickaway County, down towards Ross and Vinton counties. Could be looking at some light accumulations down there. Tonight we drop down to 27. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
An ex-jock and a very puffy, smooth-faced man. These are the first voices you should hear. Morning Juice. Your wake-up service.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan. Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Boy, there's a lot of good ones coming in on Greatest Sports Mysteries. Here's a really good one from... this I want to give this credit to where it's due. Certainly getting some Malcolm Butler stuff. Several people with this. Shane with this. Huey with this as well. Tim Donaghy, all the details. Huey goes, was Tim Donaghy correct when he said many other refs in the NBA were fixing games for gambling profits? Is the NBA office complicit in this as well? Boy, the real truth on that. I do feel like the Pete Rose real truth is out there. And everyone just kind of acknowledges that he was betting on everything. I'm sure he just wasn't betting on the Reds to win. Sure, he's betting everything. Betting on them to lose would be the issue.
While he was a player coach, yeah.
While he was a player coach, that would be the one that would be the issue. It's amazing how many times I get this, James, with this. And I'm not picking on you, but it's just an example. Whose decision was it to trade for Watson, or at least who was driving force behind the acquisition? They have literally said, and it's the real truth 1,000 times, Andrew Berry. I mean, this has been talked about so much. Andrew Berry had a fascination with DeShaun Watson going back to his time in Philly. And why wouldn't you? Watson was elite coming out of Clemson. He was elite when he first got to Houston. And he became available because of the off-field stuff. Because of that, a franchise quarterback became available. And Andrew Berry, Paul DePodesta, Kevin Stefanski were all on the same page of this is a game changer. This will take us to the next level. And they convinced ownership, and ownership then got supportive and behind it. It's well documented. It's been talked to a bunch. Obviously, it didn't work out the way anybody there wanted it to work out. If you want to be I suppose if you're looking for a critical eye in it, anytime that you make a decision like that is an incredible risky decision, you want to make sure everything is vetted. The one thing I don't know if they ever could have vetted is psychologically how DeShaun handled all of the stuff that was happening around him. The other thing they couldn't have ever vetted was just the health. There's no way of knowing that he was going to be hurt almost every single year. So there was that part of it as well. But it's well documented that was a front office driven decision for them. Always was that. That was always kind of the case. Luke, is the real reason that the NFL gives preferential treatment to the Chiefs to garner the Swifties. They don't need the Swifties. They don't need them. They're good. They don't need any part of it. I don't think there's any of that in there. I think the one thing that there is preferential treatment to good players, and that's happened everywhere you go. Is on that. Is good players get benefit. That happens in the third grade. That happens in the professional ranks. I think the number one overwhelming answer, though, to it is the Jordan first retirement, the real truth on that. Because there was all sorts of rumors that it was gambling debt, that he was out of control from a gambling standpoint. The reports in the mid-'90s that when they would play the Knicks, he'd go to Atlantic City and gamble hugely and then show up the next day. And that David Stern, that's always kind of the innuendo that's around it. The real truth on that would be pretty fascinating. You're never going to get it. Jordan's never going to talk about it. There's no chance that he talks about it at all. So that's probably the one to me in sports that when I read that, I thought, yeah, that checks. NFL offseason is upon us. The combine is in a couple of weeks. I was thinking about the teams. I think what I want to do here is, versus going all the way through the league, who are the true contenders as built right now to knock off Philly, or at least have a roadmap that they can get to contender pretty quickly. I don't know if this number would have been this high in years past, but I think that it's interesting. With the loss with Kansas City losing, it almost allows you to look at the league differently. It allows you to say, well, now that they've been toppled, who else can topple them? So I actually have a more expanded list than I previously would have had. So in the AFC, I have 4 true blue contenders and 1 that I'm on the fence on. Buffalo contender, clearly. And they're ready to go. They just have to topple the mountain that is Kansas City, but they're right there. Buffalo is absolutely a contender. You guys both have Buffalo as a contender?
Yep.
Yep, they're on my list.
Baltimore, contender.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Maybe the best team in the AFC this year. They had some stupefying losses, including the one in the postseason. But Baltimore, for sure, a contender. Kansas City, obviously a contender. They're a contender as long as that operation's going. They're a contender. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are a contender. I have that much faith in Burrow. I think, obviously, Jamar Chase will be back. I don't know if Higgins will be. But I think as long as you have Burrow, the way they played the last 2 months of the season, that team can beat anybody. And I think as long as they have him, they're a contender. Any pushback on that?
I have close but not yet, because I don't trust them to start the season well enough to make it into the playoffs again, especially if they lose T. Higgins, because you saw how important he was to that operation.
They are on my list because, as Joey B said, his window is his career, and I believe him, and I have that much faith in him.
So when I gave the homework assignment, there were 5 categories: contenders, close, not yet; pretenders, drafting hope, and then road to nowhere. So you had Cincinnati Reese just below the contender.
They are close but not yet, because I'm interested to see, as we all are, how they figure out this pie.
I am right now stopping at that in the AFC. I just have those 4. You have 3, Reese, or do you have 4?
I have 3 in the AFC, and I've in the AFC that are contenders. I've got 3.
Okay. So you got Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City in the AFC.
Yep.
Bake, who do you have in the AFC?
I've got all the same 4 you do, Bo.
Okay. All right. Now, the ones in the AFC that I gave a lot of thought to, the top of that list was Houston, the Chargers, and Denver. Were the 3 that I put in the close but not yet.
So I have Houston and Denver there as well, Bo, in that next level. Yeah. I do not have the Chargers because I do not believe in Justin Herbert at all.
All right.
If Pittsburgh, because I think if Pittsburgh can get their quarterback right for an entire season.
How would that be? Would that be Rodgers? I mean, he's the betting favorite to land there.
Yeah. I think if he can go and make it work with Mike Tomlin, then that turns things around quickly.
Is Tomlin like the one guy that he wouldn't mess with? Like that organization is like the one he wouldn't mess with?
I just wonder if like him and Tomlin can get on the same page.
I don't know that there's getting on the same. I mean, it's
as close as you can possibly to getting on the same page with Rodgers.
I have them as a pretender because I don't see a quarterback solution that gets them into this league. That's why I think that the Chargers, Denver, and Houston are closer. Even Jacksonville, if your boy can get it done down there coaching at Liam Cohen, then even they have a lot of pieces that you like. NFC contenders, I have 5. I have 5 legit Super Bowl contenders in the NFC. How many do you guys have?
I have 3.
I have 4.
All right, I'm curious which ones you don't have that I do. Philly, obviously. Detroit, obviously. San Francisco, obviously. Or did you guys not have San Francisco?
I have them close.
I do not have them. I have them as a pretender.
Okay. The other two I have in the NFC are Washington with Jaden Daniels and Green Bay as true contenders. Who are your true contenders in the NFC?
So I have Washington. I have Green Bay and that close, but not yet. My other one, as long as he stays there, as long as Matt Stafford goes nowhere, I have the Rams in my contenders.
San Francisco or Los Angeles, the Rams are in my close. I've got Washington, so I've also got to improve my math skills. I have Washington, Green Bay, Detroit, and Philadelphia in my contenders.
Okay, so the only one that we're different on there is San Francisco.
Yeah.
Neither of you have San Francisco as contenders.
They're close.
Yeah. In the close list, I had Jacksonville, Chargers, Denver, Minnesota, Atlanta, if Penix continues to go. And I think Chicago's not as far off because I still think Caleb Williams is really good. And I think if they get competent coaching, they can flip. They have a lot of talent. They can flip pretty quickly with the draft.
I think that competent coaching is still, I think they're drafting hope right now because I've got to see on the coaching because as long as I've known it, it's never been competent.
No, it hasn't. It's interesting. I only have 4 road to nowhere teams where I just don't know how you'd be excited about it at all. It's the Jets for me. It's Indy. I think Indy's a road to nowhere. They're in between quarterbacks. Vegas is road to nowhere right now. I don't know what that looks like. And then New Orleans. I don't know what New Orleans is doing. I think everybody else has got some hope, some level of hope, not necessarily to be Super Bowl contenders, but to be heading in the right direction.
I think I've got 6.
Give them to me.
So I've got Indianapolis, Cleveland, Tennessee, Las Vegas, the Jets, and the Saints.
Cleveland a road to nowhere, even though they're picking second?
I got to know what they're doing.
So I have the Jets. I also have the Titans. I know they have the number 1 pick, but I just don't trust that front office at all. The Raiders, the Giants, the Saints as my road to nowheres.
There you go. All right. There's your contenders, your pretenders, your road to nowheres. Drafting hope. There's a lot of hope in the league, I think is kind of my big takeaway from it, though. There's a lot of teams that can go into this offseason and get themselves relevant, at least be a fun watch heading into next year. John Breech spent the entire week at the Super Bowl. He will join us with his thoughts on the league leading up to it and also the big game and where we go from now coming up next. 2 minutes from now, John Breech, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Mark your calendars for Diamond Seller's Wedding Weekend, February 21st and 22nd. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Seller. Wedding Weekend is back with incredible offers you won't want to miss. Join us for buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and special no-interest financing on engagement rings. We've had the guaranteed best price for over 78 years. So choose a jeweler you can trust and come see us February 21st and 22nd at Diamond Seller on Salmo Road or at Easton Town Center.
Scotty Vegas here, offering you a sure bet. If you choose Awaken 180, you will succeed. We all did. I dropped my 35 pounds. Austin dropped his 50, and Beam is almost down 52. What's stopping you? A sure bet at awaken180weightloss.com.
Are your feet stopping you from being active and making it difficult to get healthier? Trade in your bad feet for good feet. Wouldn't it be nice to work, walk, and play pain-free again? Visit the Good Feet store today or visit goodfeet.com.
Hey, it's D. Miller. Guys, let's talk about getting back to your best. If you lack energy, muscle mass, feel moody, or have low libido, it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer. Don't settle for a standard dosage TRT program. I learned about the personalized treatment at Low T Center and the results you can expect with customized TRT. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 credit when you refer a new patient. Go to lowtcenter.com to book an appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Want to know anything about the fans' contests, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Drink recommendations, movie reviews, sports discussion, and whatever the hell Reeser does. This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed, it is time to head out on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Great friend of the program, our buddy John Breech covers the NFL at CBS Sports, and he joins us there. Well, I know you're down there all week. We tried to get you, had some technical difficulties last week. Apologize for that. Was there a sense that you got heading into Sunday that what we saw Sunday was possible? Was there Eagles momentum down there?
I would say two things. One, the Eagles players just had kind of a quiet confidence. There's no trash talking. It was just this expectation of winning. And, I mean, I guess you can say that from both Super Bowl teams, but I know Friday night, for instance, you have Patrick Mahomes and his wife and Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift going out to dinner. And those are the kind of things, little distractions you don't want during Super Bowl week. And not that it's necessarily a distraction, but, you didn't hear about Eagles players going out to dinner, and just all the spotlight is on the Chiefs and them going for the three-peat. And the Eagles were kind of just this team in the background. And the other part is that there was just Eagles fans everywhere. I mean, it felt like the stadium was 75-25. It felt like a home game, and the crowd was just so loud. I wouldn't be surprised if it did impact the Chiefs. You're already playing a difficult defense, and when the crowd is just insanely loud like that, it certainly doesn't help things.
John, at what point in the game did you kind of reach the point of this is not going to go well for Kansas City?
Let's see. There were two spots. The Cooper DeJean pick six was the first one where I just kind of couldn't believe how bad Patrick Mahomes was playing. I mean, that was just a horrible throw. We can blame the offensive line because Mahomes was getting destroyed back there. But on that specific play, he had plenty of time to throw and just made an absolutely horrible pass. And then that's a game changer because now it's 17-0. And then the other one was right before halftime, they get the ball back down inside their own 10-yard line, and it really felt, all right, if they can go down and score on this drive, it's 17-0, it's 17-7, they get the ball to start the second half, and you're right back in the game. It doesn't matter how badly you played that first 2.5 quarters. And then Mahomes threw that second interception, Eagles score a touchdown at 24-0. It felt like it was over. It did not feel like the Chiefs had any shot of coming back. So the second quarter is when I thought it was over.
Yeah, I love that. The one, that last stanza you just brought up in terms of, like, you go get 7, you're going to get it at half. You could kind of make it interesting, and then to throw another pick. It's obviously it's the worst we've ever seen him play, John. I mean, like, it's so bad that I'm with you. Like, the pressure was incredible, but at the same time, like, just the misreads from your vantage point. Were there plays out there to be made that he was missing? What do you make of the performance of Patrick Mahomes, who is typically so great on this stage?
Yeah, it was almost like, I mean, I'm not comparing Patrick Mahomes to Sam Darnold, but the whole kind of seeing ghost things where it really felt like he thought people were there or was reacting like people were there, even if maybe they weren't, or if maybe he had another split second to throw, but he didn't take it because he thought he was going to get hit. That's just how fast the Eagles were getting in. But I did think that he didn't take any shots in the first half. We obviously saw Xavier Worthy have that huge second half. There were shots to be had in the first half. That's obviously one of the vantage points you have from being at a football game is you can see when the receivers are getting open downfield, maybe things you can't see on TV. And they were there. He just wasn't taking them. And there was one specifically in the first half where it looked like Worthy had about a step on Quinyon Mitchell, and it was a throw that Mahomes has made 100 times in his career, and he kind of cocked his arm like he was going to make the throw, pull it back in, and it just got drilled. So it was just – he just wasn't making throws that we've seen him make so many times before, which I thought was surprising.
We'll get to Philly in just a second. Kansas City won 2 Super Bowls after trading Tyreek Hill. So, like, while they were paying Mahomes, they won 2 Super Bowls. They played in another. My view, obviously, and I'm sure yours, they're not going anywhere. But there will have to be some tweaks to this roster. What do you anticipate for their offseason?
Yeah, they need to go out and find some pass catchers, some people who can help Mahomes. And I guess they will have Rashee Rice back, and Worthy will have another year under his belt. Obviously, again, played huge in the second half. But, You don't know what's going to happen with Travis Kelce. And even if he plays another year, he looks slow out there. He had trouble getting open. The Eagles were ready for anything kind of that they were going to do to get Travis Kelce the ball. And so when the Chiefs had someone like Tyreek Hill, he just kind of spreads out the defense because they have to worry about Tyreek Hill. And so I think the Chiefs are going to be okay. I was surprised their offensive line got destroyed like that. They had struggled at times this year. But I think the flip side is that if you're the Chiefs, you don't go into this offseason panicking. You've still been in the Super Bowl 5 times in the past 6 years. You just ran into probably the top defensive front of the past decade in the NFL. So I don't know that they need to switch a whole lot. Maybe go out, bring in 1 or 2 new offensive linemen, 1 pass catcher, but they clearly don't need to blow things up and start over.
I think you make an argument now with this Philly side of things, John, that this is maybe the model organization in the NFL. When you think about the stability they've had with Howie Roseman at the top, Jeffrey Lurie at the top of it, they've been in 2 Super Bowls, 20 years ago. They've won 2 now relatively recently. They played in another one. They've done it with different coaches. They've done it with different quarterbacks, but they've always been good. Like Howie's kind of the one constant. What do you make of the Philly build towards this, their second Super Bowl championship in a decade? And then beyond that, is it something others can emulate, the special sauce that they have there?
Well, it's funny because during Super Bowl week, you have Radio Row and things, and you heard Joe Burrow down there kind of calling out Bengals management about, hey, we can get all these guys signed. And I'm only bringing that up because you look at a team that can get your top 2 receivers, give them a huge contract, give your quarterback a huge contract, give a running back a huge contract. Well, the Eagles did all that, and it worked for them, and they just won a Super Bowl. So the math says you can do that, but I think the one thing the Eagles have done that can't necessarily be replicated is they're just so successful in the draft. So the draft is such a big lottery, and Howie Roseman is just such a stud at finding guys that can contribute right away. And obviously, someone like Jalen Carter fell in their lap. But when you have guys like that, that means you don't have to give them a lot of money their first 4 or 5 years. You can afford to pay your A.J. Browns, your Devontae Smiths, or your Saquon Barkleys. And so that is where the Eagles have been so successful. So that's why I'm not sure if any other team can just kind of copy what they're doing, because you have to hit a few home runs in the draft, which is just very, very difficult.
John Breech, NFL, CBS Sports, joining us on the Brian Eating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. I was thinking about this, pal. I'm curious where you were on this. We do a power ranking NFL every week around here, and I don't know that Philly was ever in my top 3 all season. It was a steady diet of Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, Lions. Like those were kind of the ones that were in the mix. Is there a lesson here in terms of how, and maybe you had him higher during the season than I did, but is there a lesson here in terms of how long this season is and the balance of health and luck and all of the things that go into winning one of these?
Well, the thing is, the Eagles just flew under the radar for whatever reason. It was probably because the NFC North was just so dominant. Those were the teams everyone was talking about in the NFC, the Lions winning 15 games, the Vikings winning 14. The Packers going 11-6, and so people were kind of sleeping on the Eagles. But if you look at their schedule, they went 14-3. They lost on a last-second pass to the Falcons back in, I think, week 2. They lost on a last-second pass to the Commanders in a game where Jalen Hurts didn't play for 3 quarters because he got the concussion. So this team was literally about 30 seconds away from going 16-1. They were that dominant. The only time they really got destroyed during the regular season was against the Buccaneers. But, I mean, they were just beating up on everyone. They were beating up on good teams, beating up on bad teams. And, for whatever reason, they just weren't a team that people, I think, really viewed as a Super Bowl contender. So it is. I think that maybe they're not sexy, and because they run the ball, we hadn't seen a team with NFL's leading rusher win the Super Bowl since 1998, so it just didn't feel like that was a recipe for winning a Super Bowl. Maybe there's a little bit of disrespect, but for whatever reason, I think you're absolutely right, Bo, that the Eagles definitely weren't getting their due during the regular season.
It's amazing. You mentioned the Burrow conversation, John. The Myles Garrett conversation kind of dominated the start of Super Bowl week. I've never seen an active player who is under contract for 2 more years go to Radio Row and like flirt with other teams as if he was a free agent. It was wild. What did you make of that?
Yeah, it's interesting with Myles Garrett because, look, if you're him, you clearly see, I mean, this does not, if you're the Browns, this is just a total disaster. It's a nightmare because now you're going in free agency. Your star player doesn't want to play for you. How are you going to recruit players to Cleveland when they're like, well, why doesn't Myles Garrett want to play for you? What's your plan for the future? And it doesn't seem like the Browns have a great one right now. But I also feel like part of this, if the Browns went out and just offered Garrett, I don't think he has any guaranteed money left in his contract. And that was one question he didn't answer on Radio Row was, hey, what if the Browns threw a huge contract at you? Would that make you comfortable to stay in Cleveland? So, yes, he wants out, but would money fix that? So I think that's the one thing that kind of has to be decided before the start of free agency, because if a contract won't fix it, they're going to have to trade him because he clearly doesn't want to play for the team right now. John,
I'll get you out of here on this one. You mentioned Burrow. Every time he talks like that, I'm like, I don't understand how they're going to do it. They don't. Their ownership is not liquid. They don't have the money to transition all those contracts into guaranteed money. At least that's what they say to us publicly. Is there, when you talk to folks down there and just in your own conversations, is there any scenario where they could actually do what Joe wants and keep all those guys? Because I can't see it.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult, and I just love that Joe Burrow just keeps holding him to the fire here. You do not see a player – it's really the opposite of what Myles Garrett did, where, hey, look, if we're going to be good, we have to keep these guys. And when your star quarterback is calling you out publicly at the most high-profile event that the NFL holds, that's a problem if you're the Bengals front office, especially if you let T. Higgins go or Trey Hendrickson doesn't get the deal he wants. That's going to make you look bad because everyone knows what Joe Burrow wants. So, I mean, if I had to predict it right now, I think they get at least 2 out of the 3 done. I mean, I think Jamar Chase seems like a no-brainer. There's no way they're going to let Jamar Chase leave. And then, obviously, you have T. Higgins, and then you have Trey Hendrickson. I think you have to keep one of those 2. Obviously, you do whatever you can to keep all 3. But I would be surprised if they don't keep at least 2 of them.
You're the best, buddy. Sorry again for what happened last week with the miss on the technical difficulties, but great talking to you. We'll do it again soon in the offseason. Thanks for your time.
Yep, thanks for having me, Bill.
All right, there he is, John Breech, NFL at CBS Sports, joining us on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We hit 3 things on a Tuesday. Up next, Bishop and Friends, right here on the Fan.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
This Buckeye Football Impact Report is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse. On the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Ohio State football Impact Report.
Well, last week was the later of the national letter of intent signing period for college football players, one that was traditionally the big one, but we now know in recent years with the early signing period in December, it's kind of changed how it's approached. Ohio State coach Ryan Day talked about how the early period affects the February signings.
So many guys now coming at mid-year. The early signing date is something that we have to do, but I also think we need to look at when that is, and I know that's tricky because if you start to do it before the season, then I know a lot of high school coaches are concerned about players opting out, and so there's no easy solutions there. However, to your point, once you kind of get through that and guys get into the into the building and everything, then take some pressure off at this time of year. But we're also not used to playing all the way to January 20th.
This report is brought to you by Safe Flat Auto Glass. This is Paul Keels on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield. Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safe Flat Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. Man, I love that. Schedule at SafeLight.com. Safe Light Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
Libman makes a difference. The Libman Mop Crew is a part of our winning team. The Libman Mop Crew makes sure the hardwood is safe and clean for the players every game at the Schottenstein Center. No matter what kind of flooring you have at your home court, Libman has the tools to keep it clean. Our mops, brooms, and brushes are proudly family made in the USA. Visit Libman.com to see our whole lineup and for a store locator. That's Libman.com. Libman, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
I used to love shooting hoops with my dad, who taught me great lessons beyond the game. He was the one who helped me open my first bank account. He told me, credit unions take care of you like a teammate and often have the best rates. That's why I've been a Credit Union of Ohio member for 40 plus years.
Make life more affordable at Credit Union of Ohio. With great rates on savings and loans, Credit Union of Ohio has been trusted by families for generations. Visit cuofohio.org to join today. That's cuofohio.org. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Attention hockey fans, score the ultimate experience powered by Verizon.
Verizon is giving 2 lucky winners the chance to win 4 tickets to the 2025 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium on March 1st. Plus 50 participants will have a chance to win a $50 gift card. Just stop by a participating Columbus Verizon store by February 18th to enter.
Get your shot at this unforgettable experience. Hurry to a participating Columbus Verizon store today to enter.
Must be legal U.S. resident of Ohio, age 18 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit 971thefan.com/Verizon.
Here, care is where you need it. With over 350 primary care providers in Central Ohio, expert care is minutes away. See how we care for all of you at mountcarmelforyou.com.
Bring the thrill of the stadium to your wallet with the Love My Crew checking account from Pathways, the only checking account that rewards you for being a Crew fan. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Federally insured by NCUA.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The friends are the guests and listeners. Reeser and Baker just work here.
Back to work. Back to work. Everybody, work, 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 work.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
We were talking with John Breech about the Bengals. T. Higgins with some comments. I'd love to stay with the Bengals, but it's not in my hands right now. It is. I mean, it is. He could take less. I wouldn't. If I were him, I would not take less. I would take market value and see what's out there. But he could take less. What do we have on the poll today, fellas?
Daily Fan Poll asks, with the Super Bowl behind us, what are you now most looking forward to? Sports-wise, obviously. March Madness, spring training, Major League Soccer's regular season, or the NBA and the NHL playoff races. 56% of you say March Madness.
Yeah.
24% say spring training, pitchers and catchers today. NBA, NHL playoff races getting 15% of the respondents, and then the Major League Soccer regular season at 3%.
Yeah, I think March Madness is the next one that grabs the country by the throat, men's and women's. That's the next one that you're all in on. I think the NHL, NBA stuff, the only thing that kind of sucks about NBA and NHL chase to the playoffs is it's happening during March Madness. So it kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit for the casual fan. The diehards obviously are in, but the casual fan, it kind of gets lost a little bit. I think it is. I think it's March Madness for sure. Go ahead, Vic.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. March Madness is definitely next because those playoff races continue after that. So,
yeah, they're into April.
They're April into May and things like that. So, yeah, it's got to be March Madness next.
Yeah, that's it. So you got a couple of weeks here. You get the NFL Combine. We'll get people excited about the draft, NFL free agency. In March, you start to get a little spring football, but it'll be March Madness will be the next thing that everybody countrywide starts to pay attention to. It's the best. It's really great. Let's hit 3 things on a Tuesday.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
No basketball practices last night. So NBC and I got home from work and I said, dude, you're going to Costco with me. Let's go. Now, I love Costco. I go there every week. It is a part of our routine. I am a shareholder. That's been fun. They're great. I love them. Here are things I don't understand. Are they really checking the receipts when you're done? Because what I get is a pen line and usually a smiley face for one of the boys. They're looking over $500 worth of stuff in a cart. How could they possibly check it all? So I don't know what that last step is for. They verify you when you walk in. Now it's a scanner, Then you got to pay with your card, and you have to show membership when you check out, and then you got to check the receipt. So I don't know what that's about. The other thing I don't know, and I cannot verify, I'm not convinced that anyone has ever ordered one of those chicken bakes. I just don't believe it. Like it's a warm chicken pot pie with like ranch and bacon and cheddar cheese. I've never seen anybody walk out of there. You walk by like the Costco cafe there when people are sitting at the benches. I see people sucking down pizza. I see them sucking down smoothies. I see them sucking down those hot dogs. I've never seen anyone suck down one of those chicken bakes. So I don't know who's making them. Who's eating them?
Would you want to maybe next time go get one and then let us know, like do some show content?
I don't think so. I don't think I want it. When I saw what's in it, yesterday I actually made it a point to like go see what's in it. I'm like, warm ranch dressing, chicken, bacon, and cheese does not seem like a win.
I mean, we talked about it one day, and it felt like the general consensus amongst our wonderful listeners was yes, chicken bake, but not something you're interested in trying.
No, I'm not. I'm out. And I've never seen anyone order one. I don't think anyone's eaten them.
This from the It Was Only a Matter of Time department. Saints are finalizing a deal with Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore to become their new head coach. So they're the last team across the finish line, and now we can look towards the draft combine in Indianapolis at the end of the month.
I don't understand where it became, if you have obviously done something wrong while driving or almost caused an accident, why if someone honks at you, do you go after them like they're in the wrong? Like yesterday, somebody ran a red light right in front of all of us, and it wasn't even close. So I gave the customary honk at them, like, hey, what are we doing here? Sure. And then they pull up next to me and start to yell at me like I did something wrong. Sir, I am not the one who ran the red light. If you would not like to have people honk at you, please follow the laws and stop at the red light.
When you got out of the car, how fast did they speed off?
I did not. I just ignored them and then turned into my complex, and they went along their merrily way.
Number two for me. So this is the first week since the end of July that NBC doesn't have anything to do. Football season's over. Football season went right into basketball season. So he had practice during the week. Football straight into basketball. Basketball ended over the weekend. It's like February 11th, and he doesn't have anything to do after school till lacrosse starts. And that doesn't really start every night until probably the middle of March. He's been they have like weekend stuff, but never during the week. I'm like, I don't even know what he's going to do with themselves. This is my example of why get your kids, whether sports, activities, something, because otherwise they're just chasing screens. So like this is going to be a battle. I'm sending him to like basketball training tonight. I'm like, I got to get him out of the house. We can't have him just sitting here doing nothing in the afternoons.
I mean, he could just get a job.
That's next.
Gosh.
That's next.
Kids these days.
He's 13. He can handle it.
We got to stop wasting duct tape. I don't know if you saw, Bo, your kids might have seen this. A influencer in Australia named Little Golo, he's got about 225,000 followers on Instagram, tried to run through rolls of duct tape to see how many it would take to stop him.
Oh my gosh, I saw this.
He ran through 1 roll of duct tape just fine, 10 rolls of duct tape just fine, 100 was a little tough, and then he thought, well, I'm going to skip 500 and just run through 1,000 rolls of duct tape. Well, that landed him in the hospital. So,
dude, you'll see.
Like, I saw Mr. Beast was doing the same thing with a Lamborghini. Like, how many rolls of duct tape would stop a Lamborghini?
It's awful.
Why do we need to see that? Why do we need to know how many rolls?
The dumbest society on the planet. I guess it's the only one, but yeah.
Not only did he do it once, Reese, and fail, he did it again, and he went hardcore at it, and that's when he knocked himself out and ended up in the hospital. Bo, at least 2 people have ordered those chicken bakes from Costco because Chris M says, my son loves them, Bo. And then Liz says, I just ordered a chicken bake at Costco yesterday with a laughing face. And hold on, Bradley, chicken bakes are good.
I don't know. Maybe I'll order. I just look at it. I've never seen anyone, but I guess so. I mean, Costco's pretty smart. They're not going to sell something.
Right. If it sells.
It obviously sells. It's obviously working. Number 3 for me, I don't know how many times this happened. I just saw on social that there's a report that the Browns are going to have a 3rd helmet and add another color. There's only one left to do. It would be brown. I mean, that's not scores. That's it, right? There's nothing else. I can't imagine they're going to go with like a silver helmet or black. I mean, it feels like brown's the only color left, right?
Yes.
They've done the others.
So, looking forward to seeing how that looks.
Yeah.
There's, the conspiracy theories in sports they're always fascinating. And we talk about the JFK papers, some of those being unsealed today, and people wondering if the NFL has the audio between Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph, and the Luka Doncic thing with the NBA, and what's the real truth behind that, why he was moved from Dallas. Mark Stein had a report that at the last second, Mark Cuban tried to step in and stop the trade from happening. When he heard about this, wanted to call up everybody he could to make sure that wasn't going to get off the ground, because he gets Dallas. It feels like the ownership there right now care none in the least of that Dallas Mavericks fan base, and that's sad.
We talked about March Madness coming up. Ohio State obviously making a push to make the tournament in basketball. Rothman and Ice coming up next. They will talk to Adam Jardy about the Buckeye basketball team.
There you go. You got that to look forward to, which is nice. We're back tomorrow. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Matty Ice has a large tattoo on his calf of LeBron eating a lion. I have nothing else to say. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
This is Hall of Famer number 275, Chris Carter. Buckeye born and bred. Ohio has been a huge part of my football career. From Friday nights in Middletown to Saturdays at the Shoe, and now all the way to Canton. Now I want you to experience football heaven, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Go to 971thefan.com/Go Jacket and enter to win a VIP experience to the home of professional football, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ignite the passion, relive the glory.
Bo Bishop here. High Bank Distillery Co. is the most awarded distillery in America at the 2024 San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Stop by your local liquor store to grab a bottle, or the 3 restaurant locations in Gahanna, Grandview, or Westerville. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
These days, it feels like everyone is talking about how the American dream of homeownership has become out of reach for so many of us. Well, Rocket is trying to give us more of a chance to own our homes. They're making homeownership simpler and more accessible to more people, turning renters into owners. Rocket believes that every one of us deserves a shot at the American dream. So, are you ready? Own the dream. Visit rocket.com. That's rocket.com.
The county just requested more electric charging stations.
Orders have really amped up at Able Electric.
We need 3 more at First and Main, and we just got another hotel chain.
It's no shock. Able Electric needs able electricians.
Grocery store wants charging stations too.
And fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Hey, nice job, Pete. I like those clean lines. Fellas, do we have anyone that can get to Greenport today?
At Corey's Landscaping, the staffing plan is in the weeds.
Anthony, we need that leaf blower over here. 3 more new customer requests just came in. Who wants to work some overtime?
He needs to dig up quality landscapers and fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions.